celebrate that, but he knows exactly what that goal means for Arsenal. It has got them out of jail in Germany tonight. It is Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 1, and Mikel Arteta immediately is screaming to the Arsenal players to get back and concentrate and switch on.
He is intense in that technical area at the moment, is he? Getting onto the players, tap into the side of his head as if to say, really dial in now. We've got the goal, going to get ourselves out of jail here a little bit. Fair play to Kai Havertz, because I think Blažić did a great job of just trying to delay that penalty. All of a sudden he needed to tap his studs on the post. He was faffing about in the corner of the goal, trying to unsettle Havertz in front of the penalty, but he just maintained real calm, focus, stroked it low. Blažić went the right way, but couldn't get down quick enough. It was right along the ground, low and into the corner. Good penalty, and well played, Noni Madueke, for just showing a bit of, I'm going to drive, make a decision, commit a player. I think he's done that really well since coming on. It's made the difference for Arsenal.
Yeah, it shows the strength of the Arsenal bench in full effect as well. Madueke winning the penalty, Havertz sticking it away. Arsenal fans away to our right. A red flare has been lit and smoke is billowing away and just rolling off the underneath of the roof of this Spy Arena, which as you approach from the outside actually looks like a giant trampoline, the big white metalwork which circles the top of this stadium. 3 minutes of added time at the end of the game. Huge blow for Leverkusen that. They played really well tonight, but now they've got to go to North London next week, and it looks like they're going to go their level. We've got full commentary of Real Madrid, Manchester City on the way on 5 Live and BBC Sounds tonight, but the chances have been few and far between for Arsenal. Martinelli's shot against the crossbar. Leverkusen have really stifled Mikel Arteta's team, but Madueke's bit of brilliance won the penalty. Havertz stuck it away, and there's your headline. Havertz scores against Leverkusen.
Yeah, both goals, set plays as well.
Yeah.
You know, you just knew it wasn't going to be a free-flowing goal fest tonight at all. It's been an interesting game for different reasons, but not a shock that both goals have come from set pieces.
Tap Sober with the throw. That's Matt Upson watching the closing stages here in the Bay Arena of Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 1. Paul Robinson, former England international, will be with John Murray in the Bernabéu for Real Madrid against Manchester City tonight. And as I mentioned in the first half, a weekend of fabulous sport on the way. 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the Sports Extra streams. Six Nations Rugby, Premier League football, Chinese Grand Prix, 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. Commentary of the Players' Golf Championship from Sawgrass, the tennis at Indian Wells. The next 2 days, the Cheltenham Festival on Sports Extra from 2 o'clock tomorrow and Friday, which is Gold Cup Day, as David Raya takes the goal kick for Arsenal, drills it long downfield. Arsenal have won themselves a throw. We've got a minute of added time remaining in this game, and the smoke really has made its way from underneath the roof of the stadium here, drifting across the pitch, and Arsenal have won a late corner.
Yeah, and it's a big opportunity. The Arsenal fans all of a sudden saw it go out for a corner and gone up another gear, thinking, right, could actually take a win away with us if this delivery comes in from Rice. You've got Havertz in the box, Gabriel looking really meaningful, I don't know who's having a go at there, but shouting at his teammates. Like, this is a big moment for Arsenal.
Yeah, bevy of red and white shirted players buzzing around inside the Leverkusen penalty area. Gabriel trying to shake off his marker. Corner will come in from the left wing. Pretty much the last action of the game on the way here. This would be a proper smash and grab if Arsenal managed to nick it and score late, but you wouldn't bet against them from the corner. Havertz getting involved in a push and shove with the goalkeeper, Blažić as well. Corner, and it comes now from Rice. Pace on that ball, no whistles blowing. Referee spotted something before it was taken. What's he decided here? Pointing at a few players, calling someone out to give them a yellow card. Is it goalkeeper Blažić?
He's got the yellow card out again.
For someone.
I don't know what that's for.
Havertz has been booked.
Havertz has turned away and put his head in his hands. He's not doing anything, he's just standing there.
Yeah.
Havertz is just standing there. How has he got a yellow card?
Grimaldo's half a foot smaller, isn't he? And he's trying to hold on to Havertz. You're right, Havertz.
And they've got to defend another corner now.
Here it comes from Declan Rice, in from the left-hand side, whip to the far post. Header from Jesus. Blocked on the line, that, and the referee spotted an infringement in there. So that is going to be a free kick to Leverkusen. Have to have a look on the replay what happened there. I thought it might be a late winner from Jesus.
I'm not sure the referee's coping with these set play. I mean, I will say we're so used to the Premier League contact of players running around goalkeepers that when you then play in Europe, that they're just not quite used to it. It can, obviously, it's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot of activity, a lot of bustling and shoving in the box.
Well, there we go. It's finished Bayer Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 1 tonight. Kai Havertz has scored against his hometown club with a late penalty to take it level to the Emirates Stadium next week, when once again Arsenal will start the favourites. But it was one of those performances again from Arsenal tonight. It didn't fully flow. Martinelli hit the crossbar in the first half. They were dozy at the start of the second half. Andrich got the goal from the set piece, and after that Arsenal were struggling to find a way through. Madueke came on for Saka. He did make a difference. Martinelli looked dangerous, more dangerous on the left in the second half, Matt, and it was Madueke's skill and then Havertz's coolness under pressure that saw it finish 1-1.
Yeah, I just thought it was the skill and the ability to go past people, but it was more his mentality and decision making. When he came on, Madueke, he was just direct. It was quick. It wasn't complicated. It's right, I'm just going to go at you, and he won a penalty doing that, and that has got Arsenal in a much better situation because the performance wasn't great. It wasn't a massive spectacle of a game. They've got an opportunity at 1-1 to go back to the Emirates and a really good chance to go through.
Yeah, it's a pensive Mikel Arteta who's going marching across the pitch at the moment to thank the Arsenal fans for their support. Still unbeaten in the Champions League this season, still only 3 defeats in the entire season. Might feel they slightly got away with one this evening. Next week, this tie will start at 1-1 at the Emirates next Tuesday night. Steve?
Yeah, it sort of feels like a bit of a weary challenge at the end has helped them get out of jail to an extent, Matt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think it's just Madueke driving in the box and a decision to go to ground. If you don't win the ball, there's contact there, and I think Madueke makes the most of it, like we've discussed, but he's probably entitled to go down, shall I say, and the VAR's never going to overturn that decision, and it's an important situation that Madueke's won for Arsenal because they were going home 1-0 down, Steve. I don't think they were going to make that breakthrough, and so it's been a really impactful moment.
I wonder if also, Matt, it's almost a great sort of description of the discussion we were having earlier about Arsenal and weariness, in that when they're in that position, they have players on the bench who can come on and make an impact. And actually, just focusing in on Madueke, he was great at Mansfield the other day. So if you can play like this in all situations, in all competitions, such a big asset.
Yeah, I think he does that better than anyone in the Arsenal squad, to be honest. And like I said to Ali, which isn't great for him, because you don't want to be known as the player that's great and energetic coming off the bench. You want to be starting all the time. But I thought the decision to take Saka off is never an easy one. He's the captain and he's their top player. But he just had a funny 5-minute spell before being subbed where he just looked really lost of ideas, like the game was on top of him. And it was quite a bold substitution from Mikel Arteta, but it was necessary, I thought, and he made it, and Arsenal have kind of got the benefit from that.
I was impressed with Leverkusen tonight, Steve. I thought they played. I mean, Matt picked out some of the individuals, but the likes of Kafane as the centre forward. I mean, we were saying in the first half, weren't we, Matt? You're up against the best defence in the world there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say ran them ragged, but gave them a real game, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was excellent.
Palacios in midfield. Yeah, they were good, Steve. So, that's not a formality next week.
No, absolutely not. 1-1 then, full-time at the Bayer Arena. Ali Bruce Ball and Matt Upson there. Thank you very much, fellas. You will get more from them on the Football Daily podcast, and we should get some more reaction to you after 10 o'clock tonight as well. We'll be in the press conference there, so hopefully we should be able to hear, I would have thought, from Mikel Arteta at least. So that is the first of our Champions League commentaries. More to come. Before we get into that, we have a quarter-finalist at Indian Wells, Russell Fuller.
His name is Cameron Norrie. The champion in 2021 has beaten the Australian qualifier Rinky Hijikata 6-4, 6-2, breaking in the first game of the match and then running away with it towards the end by winning the last 5 games. Could play Carlos Alcaraz in the last 8, Steve, and there's Jack Draper and Sonny Cartel still to come in the next few hours.
And in the next 20 minutes, we will be underway in Real Madrid versus Manchester City in the Bernabéu. Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea as well in the Champions League. We'll be bringing you full commentary of City at Real Madrid. We'll keep you up to date with events at the Parc des Princes and also with Bodo Glimt. They're a great Champions League story against Sporting Club de Portugal. There's 2 games in League One and we're at 4 games in the Championship as well. So we'll bounce around all of that before kick-off in Spain, all after the news on 5 Live with Stuart Clarkson.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The government says newly released files about the appointment of Lord Mandelson as ambassador to the US show the due diligence process fell short of what is required. The documents also suggest he received a severance payment of £75,000 when he was sacked from the job last year. Here's our political editor, Chris Mason.
The government plans one additional tranche of documents within weeks. The reality is, for ministers, is that this whole row, deeply unedifying and awkward, continues, where you have someone who they appointed to one of their marquee roles in government in what amounts to, effectively, a public singing match with ministers lobbing accusations in one direction, an investigation ongoing, and the prospects, as I say, of those additional documents still to come.
Well, BBC News understands Lord Mandelson's view is he answered questions about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein in the vetting process accurately. There have been more Iranian strikes on targets across the Middle East in retaliation for US and Israeli attacks. Several fuel storage tankers have been struck in Oman, and earlier 3 commercial ships were struck by projectiles in the Gulf. President Trump's been speaking in the past hour.
For them it's a war. For us it's turned out to be easier than we thought. But think of it, they had thousands of missiles, 8,000 missiles. We got many of them before they got to launch. They have drones all over the place. We got many. Now we're knocking out the drone plants, as you know, going fast. They started talking about mines, so we hit 28 mine ships as of this moment, 28.
400 million barrels of oil are being released from emergency reserves by governments around the world to help tackle rising prices caused by the war in the Middle East. It's equivalent to what usually travels through the Strait of Hormuz in 20 days. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested after a teenage girl was stabbed at a school in Norwich this morning. She was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Norfolk police say the boy, who they described as white British, was detained on suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. And the National Lottery says UK ticket holders come forward to claim last night's Euromillions jackpot of more than £181 million. It's the 3rd biggest lottery prize ever paid out in the UK.
The checkered flag is waiting for George Russell, who wins the Australian Grand Prix.
It's been a long time coming to have this car beneath us, and I'm going to start off in a better way.
Next,
Shanghai International Circuit.
the Chinese Grand Prix, Sunday morning from 7.
And download the Checkered Flag podcast for interviews, reaction and analysis.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sports, the Champions League with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Already tonight, a late Kai Havertz penalty against his boyhood club has given Arsenal a 1-1 draw at Bayer Leverkusen in the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie. Attention for us now turns to the Bernabéu. Real Madrid and Manchester City. John Murray has the teams.
Yes, sitting high up in our cabin 8, and we're looking out of the window in front of us, way down onto the pitch. The team's warming up, Manchester City in their bottle green training tops, and Real Madrid going through their paces as well. Real Madrid, this is their team. They actually make just one change from their match against Celta Vigo on Friday night, and that is Howson, the former Bournemouth defender, coming in for Asensio, who is on the bench. So the Real Madrid team is Courtois, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Howson, Rudiger and Mendy. And then in the midfield, Tchouaméni, Valverde, and also Thiago Pittarch, who is starting a Champions League match for the first time. He's an 18-year-old, and this is only his 5th senior competitive appearance for Real Madrid, playing in the midfield in this tie. So Pittarch in the midfield, Brahim Diaz, former Manchester City man, and Vinicius Junior either side of Arda Güler. So that's the Real Madrid team. Camavinga is on the bench for them as he comes back, but of course they've got a long list of injuries, not least Mbappe and Bellingham. As for Manchester City, 7 changes from the FA Cup on Saturday night. Donnarumma in goal, and then at the back, Husanov, Diaz, Gay and O'Reilly. Midfield, Rodri with Bernardo Silva, Semenyo, Savinho, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland, who's missed the odd match recently, but he's not missing this one. And of course that means Champions League debuts for both Marc Guéhi and Antoine Semenyo.
Paul Robinson, can I just check that you're comfortable, because Cabin Ocho sounds like a bad Spanish horror novel.
Cabin Ocho is wonderful. It's superb. It can only be described as an executive box with radio equipment in it, very high up with a wonderful screen in front of us and a brilliant vantage point.
Let me ask you the same question as I asked to Matt Upson before we got things underway in Bayer Leverkusen against Arsenal. That this is the moment in the season when discussions around trebles and quadruples go from the kind of things that people just sort of hint and whisper about to proper discussions where almost every week has massive jeopardy, including this one.
Yeah, and do you know what? Without going into the stats and everything, for Manchester City to come, they go to West Ham, then they're at home to Real Madrid in the reverse leg of this fixture, then they've got the Carabao Cup final against Arsenal, then they're at home against Liverpool in the quarter-final of the FA Cup, and then they go to Chelsea, and then there's that fixture that everyone is talking about. They're at home to Arsenal in the Premier League. We will know a lot about quads, quadruples, trophies, what any team is going to do and how the Premier League is going to pan out within the next 3 or 4 weeks. Manchester City are at a really important junction in their season.
I think, given, John, we've already said so much about the fact that we've seen these two teams face each other a number of times, it's actually interesting just to get into a couple of City's newer players who haven't experienced it, because you've got Semenyo and Guéhi starting tonight, both of whom just look absolutely ready in every way for this kind of occasion.
Yeah, ideal, really.
Yeah.
They've signed Manchester City 2 players in January who were right in the groove in the Premier League. So that, they've not come from another league, nothing new to get used to, only the change of club. And Guéhi is slotted in brilliantly, and Semenyo has just picked up from where he left off at Bournemouth, and that's saying something, isn't it? To go from that environment to the Manchester City environment and make it look so straightforward. That is a great credit to him and the character and personality that he's got as well, I would say.
And so, Paul, having been in these dressing rooms, especially when you were with Leeds in the Champions League, and players were basically finding out together whether they were ready to play in these kind of stadiums, is it almost a given then that Guéhi and Semenyo will feel at home in an environment like the Bernabéu, or is that a question mark for any player, however good, until you actually go there and do it?
No, because they're surrounded by players who have been here several times and have done this several times. Not only to mention the manager. I mean, you look at the amount of games that he's managed in the Champions League, and you look at the Manchester City players and the experience that is in that dressing room around him. This is the 16th meeting between the two clubs.
Yeah.
I mean, they only played each other, in December? Manchester City won here in December 2-1. So it's a dressing room that's full of players who know how to cope with this environment. And those two players, John absolutely correctly said, they have hit the ground running. They have been the best 2 signings in the January window by far, and they've not just settled into Manchester City, they've made a difference.
I must say, Steve, the one thing we always think, don't we, with Pep Guardiola, when it comes to matches like this, is he going to do something unexpected? And I have to confess, I was expecting Mateus Nunes and Ryan Ait-Nouri to be playing in this team as the fullbacks, and neither of them are playing. They're both on the bench. So I'm thinking that even though I've written this down as a back 4, that it may well sort of morph from back 3 to back 4, with O'Reilly sometimes as the left back and sometimes moving into midfield. So I think that is worth flagging.
As is the discussion, I think, around 2 of the players who you absolutely could have put your house on playing, Paul, which is Courtois and Donnarumma at either end. If you were looking to win the Champions League this season, right, if you were in charge of any massive team, which of those 2 goalkeepers would you most like to have in your side? Because they are the ultimate big game goalkeepers, aren't they?
Both. I mean, that's an inanswerable
Well, where's the other one
question.
playing? Left back?
I'll put him on the bench, but you can't pick between the 2 of them.
Can you not?
I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches. I mean, you look at Courtois, he's 33 now. He's got over 100 caps for his national side, and he has been the figurehead of goalkeepers. And you look at Donnarumma, you look at the saves that Donnarumma made last season when PSG won the Champions League. We talk about strikers scoring goals, winning games, the attacking players. Obviously, goals win football matches, but if goalkeepers stop the attempts on target, they also win football matches, and Donnarumma has done that so many times in such big occasions. You look at Donnarumma, he made his debut for AC Milan when he was 16. He made his debut for Italy when he was 17. The stats around both of these two goalkeepers, we're just going to sit back and enjoy watching two of the world's best tonight.
Can I, Steve, as well, also throw into and add to that question by mentioning the other goalkeeper that we were watching last night, Oblak, where we spoke so much about Kinski and Vicario. I know, Paul, that you're a big admirer of the Atletico Madrid goalkeeper as well.
I'm a huge admirer of Oblak, and I think in the vicinity where we are now, we've got three of the best goalkeepers in the world. Oblak as well, 33 years of age. I mean, his experience, I'm just very, very surprised how that no Premier League team has looked at him, picked him up with the quality that he has. But we had this conversation yesterday, and you said to me, he's not on too bad a thing there at Atletico Madrid, is he? Especially with under Simeone, with the defensive shape that they have.
This is going to link into something I'm going to ask you about Chelsea in a second. But before we get on to that game and go off to the Parc des Princes for the first time, just on Real Madrid specifically, Paul, I heard you saying your voice note that you sent to the guys on Drive earlier that this is a depleted Real Madrid. There is no Kylian Mbappe. Donnarumma said in his press conference, well, I've played with him and he's a big miss, but effectively any player who comes in is a champion. It is still a pretty intimidating Real Madrid forward line.
It's Real Madrid and it's the Bernabéu, and this place has a real affiliation with the Champions League. I mean, it's never going to be easy, but if Manchester City have got a good opportunity, it's tonight. They're playing against the Real Madrid side who are depleted with injuries. Militao, Alaba, Bellingham, Ceballos, Rodrigo, Mbappe. We spoke that they've got a number of quality players that are missing and unavailable to the manager. You just have to scroll down the list of substitutes. It's almost like the under-23s are sat on the bench tonight for Real Madrid. But as you say, that the Champions League, it just has a special association with Real Madrid. It's never going to be easy to come here tonight, but Manchester City, if they are to progress in this competition, we know that their running is very, very tough, but they've got a huge opportunity tonight to eliminate one of the biggest teams in the competition.
We just had a visit in our box here from my friend from the radio station Cadena Ser, Antonio Meana, who knows this club inside out, and he was, Paul, very downbeat, wasn't he, about Real Madrid at the moment. He said, listen to the crowd. He said, listen to the crowd here, they're so flat. He said the president's in a bad moment at the time, the club's in a bad moment. They don't know what's going to happen next in terms of the manager, and he's saying they need, well, he said 4 big signings this summer.
That's it. I asked him the question. John was having a deep conversation with him, and I said to him, okay, how many players do you need in the summer? What changes this? And he went 4 or 5 players, and I'm not talking about squad players. He went top level players. This club needs 4 or 5 top level players bringing in, and that give you an indication as to where they are at the moment.
Paul, stay with us. We'll be back with you in just a second because I want to ask you about Chelsea. They're at Paris Saint-Germain and Chris Coles is watching this.
They were too good for Liverpool, Villa and Arsenal on their way to Champions League glory last season with Paris Saint-Germain, but this tie against Chelsea feels in the balance, and if you trust the Opta predictor, they reckon this is the most evenly balanced of the last 16 ties. PSG don't appear to have the same aura, and Chelsea know how to beat them, as they proved so convincingly in New York last summer. Cucurella back in from the start for Chelsea. James plays in midfield, and Jorgensen preferred over Sanchez in goal. 2 young sides, full of attacking talent. This could be a lot of fun.
And I feel mean almost asking this, Paul, but does anything separate Chelsea from the elite more right now than the fact that at the minute Liam Rosenior can't seem to choose between Philip Jorgensen and Robert Sanchez?
I think it's a similar position to what Liverpool had when they had Karius in goal. They had 2 very good goalkeepers, but not of the top level. You asked me the question about the 2 goalkeepers on show here tonight. They are of the elite level. Chelsea are not blessed with those riches. They've invested heavily in their squad. We know the amount of money that Chelsea have spent, but have they invested heavily in that area? They haven't, and that's an area that they do lack. They've got 2 decent goalkeepers. They've got 2 goalkeepers of who can play and who can hold their own in the Premier League. They do not have an elite level goalkeeper.
So we'll be keeping you right up to date with PSG versus Chelsea. Our commentary comes from the Bernabéu. Real Madrid versus Manchester City. We'll be back there in just a moment. Less than 5 minutes to kick off. Let's take you around the rest of tonight's live football. Also in the Champions League last 16. The story of the whole European season. Norway's Bodo Glimt into the knockout round. They beat Inter Milan in the playoffs. Victories against Manchester City and Atletico Madrid in this season's competition. They've got Sporting Lisbon in Norway in their first leg. Maz Faruqi.
Yeah, the Norwegian side, pretty much a favourite of everyone watching the Champions League this season, was sporting the latest team to attempt to come to terms with their 3G pitch tonight. Bodo, though, looking to build not only on those famous wins that you mentioned over Manchester City, Atletico and Inter over two legs, but also on their victory in their only domestic game so far in 2026, that over Molde in the Norwegian Cup 6 days ago.
Let's go into the Championship. Coventry start the night 5 points clear of second place Middlesbrough. Coventry play Preston at 8 o'clock. Julia Bold is at the CBS Arena.
Frank Lampard's made 4 changes for Coventry. Liam Kitchen, Frank Onyeka, Brandon Thomas-Asante and Ellis Sims come in. Top scorer Hadji Wright drops to the bench for this one. Meanwhile, pressure building on Preston boss Paul Heckingbottom, his side without a win in 5 games. 5 changes for them, including the return of Daniel Iverson in goal after 2 months out injured.
So that one's at 8 o'clock. All of the other Football League games are 7:45 starts, including second place Middlesbrough against Charlton. Rob Law.
12 minutes in, 0-0. Middlesbrough playing with real confidence and have had chances early on. Victory tonight would give them vital breathing space in second place. Malander and Conway both start for Middlesbrough. Charlton surprisingly made 5 changes from their win against Birmingham, including an entirely different back 3, which has been under pressure early on. 12 minutes in, 0-0.
After Leicester won last night, West Brom are back in the bottom 3. They've got Southampton, whose win at Fulham made it 10 unbeaten in all competitions. Adam Cottier.
And Southampton have an FA Cup quarter-final against Arsenal to look forward to. They appear to have sustainable momentum, incomparable to the side head coach Tonda Eckert inherited in November. If they win this, they'll be a point away from the playoff places. West Brom haven't won a championship match for more than 2 months. They've only ever had one spell as a third-tier club, 0-0.
And the other massive game at the bottom is at the Kassam. 23rd place Oxford United against Blackburn in 20th. Mike Miner.
Yeah, Oxford 3 points from safety, Blackburn 3 points from the drop. So yes, an important night. Best chance so far the home sides. Will Lancashire failing to get a good enough touch on a low ball across the 6-yard box. We've played 12 minutes. It is Oxford United 0, Blackburn Rovers 0.
And the 2 7:45 kickoffs in League One. Currently Port Vale 0, Bradford City 0. Port Vale after their FA Cup heroics, of course, and AFC Wimbledon have just scored. They lead Blackpool by a goal to 0. Right, ready to go then inside the Bernabéu. Real Madrid versus Manchester City in the Champions League with Paul Robinson and correspondent John Murray.
Yes, I'm just watching the very last of the handshakes as the players move along the line. It's Erling Haaland who walks away and peels off and unzips his bottle green tracksuit. Erling Haaland, who scored what turned out to be the winner here in the league phase in December from the penalty spot, the first goal that he'd scored in this stadium, and he joins the rest of his team down there for the photographs, arms round the shoulders. We've already brought you commentary from Germany tonight. Now here we are again in the Spanish capital, and we will have 2 blockbuster ties kicking off shortly involving the 2 English clubs who are last into action in this round of 16. So we'll keep you right across Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea, but the focus for commentary is here in this magnificent stadium, the Bernabéu, with its 4 tiers stretching up to the closed roof and that amazing wraparound screen that runs all around the perimeter of the roof inside the stadium. So we will have one of the most frequently played Champions League fixtures of recent times. This their 16th meeting in the last 14 years. But Paul Robinson, for this one, with the second leg at the Etihad in Manchester next week, it feels like Manchester City are, I would say, more than slight favourites.
They've got real opportunity. I know you're going to run us through the teams in a minute. We'll mention the players that are missing for Real Madrid, but at the moment Real Madrid are not in a good place. They're 4 points off Barcelona at the top of La Liga. They've got a lot of players missing, big name players, more noticeably Mbappe is out this evening along with a lot of others. They're struggling along in the league. I mean, they've had a decent win 2-1 away against Celta Vigo last Friday, but it took a 95th minute winner from Valverde to get them those 3 points. I just feel that this is a huge opportunity for Manchester City to exploit their weaknesses.
Yes, no Jude Bellingham, no Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe is sitting in his jeans in the stands. 38 goals this season, Champions League top scorer. He's not involved, so Real Madrid, Courtois in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold plays, Howson, Rudiger and Mendy the back four, Tchouaméni, Valverde the captain, an 18-year-old Pitarch, his first start in the Champions League, and then Brahim Diaz, the former Manchester City man, and Vinicius Junior either side of Arda Güler. And Manchester City, Donnarumma in goal, Husanov, Diaz, Gay and O'Reilly, who scored here his first Champions League goal in December, Nico O'Reilly, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Antoine Semenyo, Savinho, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland. The referees from Italy, Maurizio Mariani, he blows his whistle, and it is Manchester City in the all-bottle green kit that get this first leg in the round of 16 underway. Of course, Real Madrid here, all in white, the famous all white of the record winners of this competition, 15 times champions. And Manchester City with the ball on the left-hand side with Jeremy Doku, who is challenged, and the ball bounces back to Rudiger. And Real Madrid, for the first time in the match, can have a feel of the ball. It's quite a busy night, so we'll keep you across all of the scores up and down the country. And it is a Champions League final score night as well tonight. So if you go to the BBC Sport website or app and click on Champions League final score, you can listen to the 5 Live commentary alongside the final score graphics, and the video printer is on there, but we'll keep you right across all of the latest goals. So it is Real Madrid with Valverde, who just about got there first ahead of the challenge that came in on him from Ruben Diaz. Real Madrid again with Trent Alexander-Arnold, first time we've seen him on the ball, and Valverde goes back centrally into the area just in front of the centre circle, where it's steered over towards the left-hand side. Now, Dean Howson is back in possession. Asensio, Raul Asensio on the bench. Howson preferred this evening alongside Rudiger, the former Bournemouth man, and Real Madrid enjoying some possession inside the Manchester City half.
It's a very interesting matchup this evening, because there's two teams here who enjoy dominating the possession. When you look at what they do during the season, most of the games that they have, when these two play, they dominate possession in the game. So actually Manchester City there, they were quite happy to sit off when Real Madrid had possession and allow them to have that in front of them.
First little foul there, Paul, from Rodri on Tchouaméni. Just a little foul, nothing more than that. Free kick, let him know he was there.
I think it's he's come back into the side, hasn't he, for Manchester City. We know how important he is, the record that Manchester City have without Rodri. He's an integral part of everything that they do. He's key to what Pep Guardiola wants, and the next conversation we'll have about Rodri, his contract's up in 2027. That'll be the next contract.
We won't be thinking about that right now. This absolute titan of Spanish football, Rodri, Ballon d'Or winner in 2024, and gradually, I think, after all of the injury problems, showing more of his true self. Oh, Doku, that's brilliant. Goes round Tchouaméni. Doku to the edge of the penalty area. Still going. Then the challenge comes in on him. Goes down, but I think it took the ball as well. Ferland Mendy coming back with the challenge, and Real Madrid get it away. But what a run through the middle from Doku.
That's brilliant from Jeremy Doku. He's playing outside left tonight, but his quickness, his decisiveness on the ball there, the turnover of possession, he wins the ball in the centre circle, and his run is straight, it's direct, it's very, very hard to pick up. Ends up being nothing, but it's a threat.
And Paul, just when we look down on them from here, you know, they have kind of reverted to the back three, haven't they, with O'Reilly, while Diaz and Husanov have the ball in the central area. O'Reilly pushing right far forward, almost up to the edge of the penalty area, and joining in the front line.
He's very much in the hybrid role that we call the full-back hybrid role, and actually it's very early on in the game, but he hasn't spent much time in the full-back position. It looks like it's going to be a back three when they're in possession. Kusanov, Diaz and Gay will be those three. And what Manchester City are doing, actually, they're setting very, very high. There's a lot of players in and around Erling Haaland early in this game.
Here's Mark Gay, who was unsettled a little there by Brahim Diaz in the central third of the field. He actually slipped. We don't want to see any more slips tonight after all of those last night. And actually, as I say that, Semenyo slips over. And so it is Real Madrid who bring the ball to the edge of the penalty area. Diaz gives it to Valverde on the right-hand side. Now back to Alexander-Arnold. His ball into the box. Stabbed away by the right foot of Diaz. Trent Alexander-Arnold was setting himself there. I thought we were going to see one of those trademark passes. This time, though, Real Madrid on the left-hand side. The attempted cross from Pitarch, the teenager, is blocked, and then he gets a chance to take up possession again. Surprise, surprise. Pittarch looks very comfortable in possession of the ball.
Yeah, he's one of those players who's used to having possession as he sits in the middle of that midfield. He's only 18 years of age, but he'll anchor that midfield. Everything that Real Madrid will do, they'll look for him. He's one of those players that just seems to find space.
Valverde on the right, O'Reilly. He dummies as if to cross. O'Reilly's able to recover. Then Alexander-Arnold's ball into the edge of the penalty area. Passed away to comparative safety. More than that, because it's Haaland. Haaland's running from inside his own half. And then Howson comes across and puts in an excellent tackle. However, the ball falls to Doku. Then back to Haaland inside the box. The touch from Haaland was just a little heavy. And that meant that Trent Alexander-Arnold could step in. And he was able to take the ball away. That's a real memory, isn't it, watching Alexander-Arnold and Haaland battling together as Savinho plays the ball into the penalty area. Might get another chance. The ball runs free. It's half-hacked away. Then the shot from the edge of the area from Semenyo is straight at Courtois, who deals with it very efficiently.
That's a real opportunity for Manchester City, and that shows the threat that they have on the counter-attack. They were 3-on-3 at that point. Doku, Haaland and Savinho, they push high and they attack quickly. Good decisive attacking play.
So it is Real Madrid 0, Manchester City 0. Still PSG 0, Chelsea 0. It's a real test for Chelsea, but second leg at Stamford Bridge as Savinho comes forward. This is a very promising start. Haaland is able to latch onto the loose ball, gives it to Doku, left corner of the box. Doku turns, actually goes for the byline, pulls it right across the penalty area, through the 6-yard box, and no one's able to get a touch, and the ball just dribbles out for a goal kick to Real Madrid, and it remains goalless, but very good from City.
It was Bernardo Silva. He was the most advanced of the Manchester City players in those green shirts with his luminous yellow captain's armband on his left arm. Doku does brilliant work on the left-hand side, and it's an excellent ball across the 6-yard box. Bernardo Silva's the only one there. Can't quite get any connection. It was Rudiger who put him off, but really good early signs from Manchester City.
Real confidence to come here and listen, it's Manchester City we're talking about, high quality players, but to impose themselves in the early stages as they are doing on Real Madrid, it's very promising.
I think they'll be confident tonight. I think they'll be confident tonight, John. As you rightly said before the game, you highlighted the players that Real Madrid had missing.
And here they are with Bernardo Silva carrying the ball forward to the edge of the D and then plays it out to Doku, who has space into the penalty area. The challenge, he beats his man, pulls it back, and it's all the way through everyone on the edge of the 6-yard box. I do not know how no one was able to get contact on that. There must have been 6 or 7 bodies in there.
Almost a carbon copy again from Manchester City with Doku down the left.
At the other end, though, now we're motoring in this match. It's Vinicius, middle of the Manchester City half. He plays it here to the right-hand side. Pittarch back into the penalty area. Then, again, Vinicius flicks it into the box. Brahim Diaz with a chance, and it's a good save. Donnarumma got down quickly, spread himself, and the shot from the angle was more or less straight at the goalkeeper, but he had to parry it, and he did well. It's a corner.
Yeah, it's a really good save. It's hit with pace and power from a short distance. It was a reaction save for Donnarumma. It's on the angle, 12 yards out, just off the point of the 6-yard box. Vinicius Junior lifts the ball over the top. Looks like he's just about kept himself onside. Diaz hits it with the outside of his left boot. Really good save with Donnarumma with his right hand.
Well, that was a thrilling period of play there. At one end, Jeremy Doku causing
just
real
come
problems.
to life, didn't it? All of a sudden, from nowhere.
Corner then for Real Madrid. There are 2 contenders to take this. It looks it's going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. It is. Towards the penalty spot. Rudiger with a header. That's blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. Semenyo was in there, and Manchester City look to break as they play from right to left. But Real Madrid have got it back. Alexander-Arnold's cross. That is blocked by Rodri, who was jumping in front of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, real memories coming back of some of those great Manchester City-Liverpool tussles with Trent Alexander-Arnold on the field, not in the red of Liverpool, but in the white of Real Madrid. He's had his injury problems this season, the Englishman. Just 18 appearances. He's had a series of thigh problems, but it feels like, from what we hear, that he is very much warming to the task and settling in much better.
And also with the World Cup coming up at the end of the season as well, with the recent announcement from Kyle Walker. You just wonder, is there anything there? Has he had a conversation with the England manager, Trent Alexander-Arnold?
I would expect so.
I like the fact there's his versatility. I think that in a small squad, which we believe maybe 23, I think that gives you a huge advantage.
Well, when we spoke to him at the Nations League draw, Thomas Tuchel, 2 or 3 weeks ago, you know, he was asked about Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he said he anticipated that he would be available and in the frame, and the squad for the 2 friendlies against Japan and Uruguay is named at the end of next week, and that will be one of the names that we're looking out for to see if he's included. Real Madrid 0, Manchester City 0. It is still PSG 0, Chelsea 0 before too long. We'll hear from there and find out how things have started against the holders. And earlier, Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 1 in our first commentary match of the day from the Bay Arena. And Kai Havertz with the late penalty to save Arsenal from what would have been only their 4th defeat of the season. Chelsea 0-0. We're going to go hear more about that in a moment, but here come Manchester City with Doku. Doku turns though, plays it back to Gay. Now Rodri turns and flicks the ball out towards the right-hand side. The Uzbek, Husanov, and now Savinho with the pass forward for Semenyo. But out comes Hausen and clatters the ball out of play into one of the ever-changing electronic boards on the far side of the pitch. Manchester City get the ball back in play quickly. Rodri has a look forward, but he goes square. Now Mark Gay, who is making only his 9th appearance for Manchester City. Mark Gay, with all of the big occasions, but even so, to play for the first time in the Champions League and here in the Bernabéu, a big night for Mark Gay. Still Manchester City. Here is Semenyo, like Gay, playing in this competition for the first time. Semenyo has a little look forwards as well, but actually goes back to Gay, who's going to bring the ball forward, gives it to Semenyo, but that breaks down on the edge of the box. Real Madrid could be away on the counter-attack, but actually go back to Mendy on the edge of their own penalty area. So let's see how things are going in the early stages between PSG and Chelsea. The match is being monitored by Chris Coles.
And it's not started well for Chelsea. Paris Saint-Germain, the holders, are in front. Bradley Barcola has scored 10 minutes in. João Neves with a cushion header to Barcola. Too much space inside the Chelsea box. Chest control, left foot shot in off the crossbar. Paris Saint-Germain 1, Chelsea 0.
So PSG in front against Liam Rossigne's Chelsea, back in France. He did win his last match against PSG as the Strasbourg manager back in October, but PSG leading by 1-0. We know very well, don't we, what a difficult place that is when PSG have got their tails up. But again, they've also been a little inconsistent. Here's Doku, lovely work from him. O'Reilly now, right across the goal, and I'm not sure Courtois got a touch on that. He stuck up a hand, whether he got a fingertip to it or not. I thought O'Reilly was going to be in there for another goal in the Bernabéu. Savinho though into the box, his pass into the penalty area, a stretch and away, and Real Madrid have been carved open time and again, and Doku is causing them real problems, as Husanov does well with an excellent challenge on Vinicius just inside the Real Madrid half.
This left-hand side, the channel has proved a real channel of joy for Manchester City in the early stages of this game. Doku and O'Reilly overlapping that time. O'Reilly, that's 3 balls that have flashed across the front of the 6-yard box for Real Madrid. Courtois that time, he anticipates the ball going across, but actually O'Reilly doesn't get a good connection. He could have actually scored at the far post, goes harmlessly across the 6-yard box.
If Manchester City keep causing Real Madrid problems like this down the left side, whether it's O'Reilly, whether it's Doku, one of these times they will have joy.
We talk all the time about Trent and the attacking threat that he has, but in this system that Real Madrid play, yes, he is a big part and he's a tool in their attacking armoury, but actually the holes that he leaves behind, Pep's he's a tactical genius. We know what he does, and he's seen that as a weakness tonight. I think that's maybe why he's played Nico O'Reilly as the fullback, Jeremy Doku out on the left, the two of them linking up, interchanging, overlapping. 13-14 minutes into this game, the left-hand side has been a problem for Real Madrid.
Yeah, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold's area as well, although Valverde's trying to help him out, but Doku looks in the mood. It is, as We told you Birmingham City leading QPR by 1-0. Patrick Roberts, the goal scorer for Birmingham. Wimbledon winning 1-0 against Blackpool. Also, Norwich City 0, Sheffield United 1. Jairo Riedewald opening the scoring for Sheffield United. And Port Vale 0, Bradford City 1 in League One. So fourth place, Bradford City leading against Port Vale after their FA Cup exertions last weekend. 1-0 down at home to Bradford, and Port Vale now of course have a trip to Stamford Bridge to look forward to in the quarter-finals, but they have to get out of trouble at the bottom of the league as well. Real Madrid 0, Manchester City 0. Listeners to BBC Radio Manchester are with us as well on 5 Live tonight, so welcome to you. Watching Jeremy Doku again, causing more problems down the left-hand side. Beat 2 men, and then in the end, between them, Alexander-Arnold and Valverde just about were able to block the cross behind the near post for a corner.
This is a tactic that Manchester City are using. This is something that Pep's worked on this week. You can see clearly, this time it's a deep ball from Rodri inside his own half, just at the base of the centre circle. It's a long diagonal pass over the top of Trent Alexander-Arnold into Jeremy Doku, takes on the fullback, gets into the box and wins a corner. Really, really good play again.
Yeah, time and again, Manchester City are getting in down their left. It's a corner. Little Bernardo Silva. From this height, he looks even smaller than usual. Bernardo Silva raises his right arm, then little steps, and here is the ball played in. Oh, he slipped Semenyo just as he was getting away into space. He was looking to hit that with his left foot, and his legs just gave way. And again, just like the Metropolitano last night, players are finding it difficult to keep their feet.
What is it with these pitches in Madrid? I mean, we saw the players struggling last night, but this is such a simple corner. Really well worked from Manchester City. Everyone runs to the near post. Semenyo pulls away to the penalty spot. Bernardo Silva, the outswinger on the floor. Do you know what? If it had made contact with that, it was a great opportunity. Just falls over.
Well, I can't blame the fact it's been raining today because the roof's shut.
And by the way, that's an absolute carpet. Look at it.
But very odd that should be the case last night in the Metropolitano and again tonight here in the Bernabéu. A goal in the match involving the championship leaders. Julia Bold.
Coventry 1, Preston 0. Sakamoto shot left-footed, has gone through a group of players. Iverson didn't see it and was too late for him to get to it. It's Coventry 1, Preston 0.
Vinicius with the ball, plays it back to the edge of the penalty area. The shot is driven in by Tchouaméni, blocked though. Manchester City had so many men back on the edge of their own box. Real Madrid though with Diaz fouling. In fact, they take a quick free kick, Manchester City. The assistant gave the free kick for the foul on Doku. City took it quickly, tried to get down the field, and then another foul on Rodri, who is just bundled over, and it's a free kick to Manchester City, half inside their own half.
Yeah, clumsy defending there from Diaz. Game's getting to a little bit of a scrappy stage, actually. The turnover of possession has been quick. Erling Haaland was 20 yards from his own goal there, looking for the ball. He's been very quiet, been very isolated as Erling Haaland, looking to get some service.
Yeah, Brahim Diaz appealed to the referee and said, why have you given a foul for that? He virtually jumped on his back, Rodri, and brought him down. Ball up towards Haaland then, as Paul Robinson says, rather isolated, as he controls it, but then hits the ball way beyond Doku. And that's out of play for a throw-in for Real Madrid. Also, Paul, keeping an eye on Buda Glimt tonight.
You enjoyed your little trip there, didn't you, sir?
Well, so did you when you went last season.
I saw a very good Tottenham Hotspur performance. I mean, we've not said that many times this season, have we?
No, we certainly didn't say it last night.
No.
Buda Glimt 0, Sporting 0 is the score in the first leg of that match being played in the Arctic Circle tonight, although my friends there were telling me that it was actually 5 degrees earlier in the week in Buda. Manchester City with Rodri in possession. Rodri just plays a diagonal ball to Semenyo, who turns away to the right, so we can see the number 42 on the back of his shirt. Then Savinho takes it on. Here's O'Reilly on the edge of the area, allowed the ball to run. In came the challenge from Valverde, and then left-footed shot on the edge of the area from Bernardo Silva. Came to him quickly. It was at a sort of, knee height, thigh height. He had a swing at it, but hit it narrowly wide of the left post.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva's made that into a better chance than it actually was. Real Madrid struggling to clear the lines. 19 yards out, it's bounced up on him on the half volley, on his left foot, his favoured left foot. He's hit it really well, just goes past the right hand upright of Courtois, but it's good from Manchester City.
It's still 0-0. as Valverde gets away and into the penalty area, plays it round Donnarumma and scores from the angle. Oh, he had so much to do there, Valverde. He got away from O'Reilly first. Out came Donnarumma to the very edge of the penalty area, and Valverde, with a lovely touch, poked it past him. And even though the angle was tight, Valverde was able to score. And after all of the Manchester City pressure and chances in the early stages, it is Real Madrid who score first and lead 1-0.
We talk about football, we talk about being the purist, playing out from the back, 100 passes before you score a goal. That's come straight from Courtois, over the top of Nico O'Reilly. It's a sensational first touch from Valverde, it really is. The goalkeeper gets an assist to his name, over the halfway line, over the fullback's head. It's a big first touch with his right boot. Races into the 18-yard box, and Donnarumma gets it wrong. He chooses to go and try and challenge Valverde. He thinks that he can get there. When he's halfway there, he realises that he's made the wrong decision. The goalkeeper can't challenge, he can't make a commitment to the ball because he knows that he'll foul him inside the 18-yard box. It would be a penalty, it would be a sending off for him. It's super play from Valverde. The tiniest of touches around Donnarumma, and it's a finish from a tight angle, and that's come from nowhere.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the finish was, for those who can remember, Mark Hughes in the European final for Manchester United many years ago now. It wasn't quite as tight, the angle, as it was for Mark Hughes in that final, but the way that he had to twist and shoot back across and into the goal, it was a super finish, a super individual goal really from Valverde.
We're just thinking about it, John. The goalkeeper kicked it, that's one touch. Valverde's first touch, 2. His second touch, 3. The fourth touch from the goalkeeper's boot, the ball was in the back of the net. But we over-exaggerate about playing, passing it around in the 6-yard box, the 18-yard box. That was direct football at its best.
Yep, you don't expect to be saying that when you're watching these two clubs, but that's what we've seen. And as well, when he took the touch to take it past O'Reilly, which was what, probably 5-10 yards inside the Manchester City half, O'Reilly, because he was the last man, he couldn't risk putting in a challenge on Valverde, and really either had to bring him down, which would have been a red card, or you had to let him go.
And that's exactly where the goalkeeper Donnarumma was. If Donnarumma would have stayed, he got his decision wrong initially. He went and then had to stop, kind of in no man's land, and he couldn't touch the player.
So after an excellent first 20 minutes for Manchester City, they find themselves 1-0 down here in the first leg of this round of 16 tie in the Champions League. Back to the Championship. Mike Maynes at the Kassam Stadium.
Yeah, well, Oxford are leading Blackburn Rovers by 1-0. It's deserved. Pert Harris's header saved by the Blackburn goalkeeper. The follow-up sent in by Jamie Donnelly. And what it means now, as it stands, Oxford are only in the bottom 3 on goal difference. Oxford United 1, Blackburn Rovers 0.
Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0. It is City with the ball halfway inside their own half, and Mark Gay, quite the shock for Manchester City. The portents was so promising for City, but one moment like that, and it's an amazing place, this the Bernabéu, the relationship that this club has with this competition. You can never rest for a moment when you're here playing against Real Madrid in the Champions League. As Mendy, the left back, steps forward, but then Bernardo Silva puts a tackle in on him. It bounces back for Howson near the edge of the box, just like in his Bournemouth days. Howson, unusually as a central defender, playing with his socks down, and then Real Madrid win a free kick in the central third.
It's incredible to think that he's still only 20 years of age, isn't it? When you look at his playing CV, Juventus and the academy, Roma, Bournemouth, and now Real Madrid. He's been a big signing for Real Madrid, and he looks very much at home here, does the Spanish international.
That's Paul Robinson, England goalkeeper, Champions League goalkeeper. You played here, Paul, in this stadium.
Do you know what, John? I've saved the penalty in this stadium, but I did give it away.
Doing what Donnarumma didn't.
Exactly, and it was that end as well.
Yes. Who took the penalty? Remind me.
I do have a picture at home, and it was Raul.
Yes, I thought that was that.
I've got a great picture, a great shot from the other end. It was like the photographer was behind the goal at the other end, looking all the way down the pitch.
That's not bad, is it? Saving a Raul penalty in the Bernabéu. As Valverde here, the goal scorer. I'm an enormous admirer of Valverde. I think he is a very, very good all-round footballer. That's his 4th goal of the season. He's adaptable. We'll be watching him, won't we, all being well, for Uruguay against England in a couple of weeks' time at Wembley.
I think his versatility is what's impressive, and I think his attitude, regardless of where he plays. Real Madrid have got so many players missing. He's playing on the right-hand side tonight. His experience. He's been at the club since 2016. He's been here a long, long time. But you don't get longevity like that at a club like this with the managers they've had unless you've got something about you.
Yep. So Valverde, who actually scored on Friday night, didn't he? It was Valverde who scored the late winner against Celta Vigo, where Real Madrid just sneaked it right at the end in added time to stay within touch of Barcelona at the top of the table. This time last night on 5 Live, we were bringing you commentary on Barcelona. We'll have the second leg of that for you, and indeed another stack of commentaries next Tuesday and Wednesday night to see how many of these 6 English clubs are able to win through to the quarter-finals. As Manchester City, who I think have been rocked by the conceding of the goal, have to go all the way back to Donnarumma, and then Mark Gay passes it forward. But Real Madrid working, as you would expect they would, incredibly hard. Pitarch gets ahead at Rudiger, just stumbles against Haaland, but he couldn't find the pass to Doku, and so Trent Alexander-Arnold was able to scoot in and take the ball away.
The goal from Real Madrid has stemmed the flow of Manchester City's attacks. You can see it's kind of rocked them a little bit. So the game's taken a very even balance at the moment, and Real Madrid seemingly are growing into this game.
Yes, the second leg of this tie, you'll hear it on 5 Live next Tuesday night. At least that's the plan. We'll see what happens in the Parc des Princes as well this evening, where Paris Saint-Germain are leading Chelsea by 1-0.
What do you mean we'll see what happens? Do you mean you've not decided which game you want to go to yet?
That has been decided, Paul. As you well know, next week I've been instructed to go to Barcelona. Manchester City get the ball back. Rodri hits it, tried to go for goal from probably 30 yards or more, but didn't really catch it, and Courtois was able to take it more or less like a back pass.
They've had good possession, Manchester City, and they've had good possession in good areas, but without really testing the goalkeeper.
Here comes Vinicius, moving from the left-hand side, plays the ball through. Valverde's onto this as well, shoots! Oh, what a brilliant goal! Across Donnarumma! And it virtually hit the foot of the far post. That is superb from Valverde, who's winning this on his own for Real Madrid. 2-0 inside the first half hour, and Manchester City have been really rocked here by the Real Madrid captain.
It's a brilliant finish, it really is. On his left foot, that's a tight angle. Donnarumma's not a small man, and he smashed that hard and low across the Manchester City goalkeeper into the far corner. It's a ball over the top. His first touch is excellent, which sets him up on his left foot, on the angle, 15 yards out, across Donnarumma, into the bottom left-hand corner. And for all Manchester City's dominance, for all their possession, Real Madrid have hit them with 2 big sucker punches.
2 goals in the space of 7 minutes, both scored by Valverde. Brilliantly finished. I mean, that is pinpoint finishing. Took a touch in a flash, really quick thinking. After receiving it from the deflection from Vinicius, Valverde took it initially on his right foot, and then the shot. Donnarumma went down, but it was past him before he knew.
The goalkeeper had no chance. It was an excellent finish, it really was. It was a ball from Vinicius Junior with the outside of his right boot. It takes a deflection off Ruben Diaz on its way into Valverde, but Valverde's first touch and set was excellent.
It is Rodri for Manchester City, who find themselves trailing by 2-0. And this now is becoming a serious situation for Manchester City. 2-0 to Real Madrid. What about Chelsea, Chris Coles?
They have an equaliser, John. Paris Saint-Germain 1, Chelsea 1. Malo Gusto has scored. Brilliantly found by Enzo Fernandez. Gusto with space inside the box. Right foot shot that maybe Safarov in the PSG goal could have done better with. It squirmed underneath him, and we are level in Paris. PSG 1, Chelsea 1.
Opening goal of the night at the Hawthorns, Adam Kotiak.
For West Bromwich Albion, who've not won a championship match since the 29th of December, Jason Malumbi following a corner on the turn. West Brom 1, Southampton 0.
Real Madrid 2, Manchester City 0. And City with O'Reilly. And they've got a job to do now, a job of work to do. Manchester City here. And, of course, 2-0 down. If they were to concede another one, mind you, if they concede another one, we'll be saying, oh, Manchester City, Tottenham in disguise.
Oh, no. They won't be sending us to Madrid again, John, after last night, and if Manchester City lose tonight. I mean, the dominance that they've had, Manchester City, the scoreline certainly doesn't reflect the pattern of play.
Ball goes back to Courtois. It was Courtois, wasn't it, who got the ball rolling, really, with that long pass for Valverde that led to the opening goal. Vinicius involved in the build-up to Valverde's second. And here they come again. And after everything that we were told about the crowd here being flat, not sure, no optimism, not sure where the club was heading, what the plan is, who's going to replace Arbeloa, the coach, to the end of the season, with all of the various players injured, Bellingham, Mbappe, here they are, suddenly lauding it.
But you hit the nail on the head. Real Madrid, Champions League, it's different.
As Manchester City win a free kick, Rodri was bundled over, and there's a bit of nonsense involving Mendy. After Mendy put the challenge in on Rodri, the ball went out of play. Rodri marches across, slaps the ball down on the pitch, takes the free kick, but the referee says, I'm not ready yet. And we'll have a little delay here, but this is winding up the crowd as well, you can hear.
A bit of nonsense. That could be one of your unintended pub names. I wonder what would go on in that type of establishment. But yeah, as you say, it's wound the crowd up over in the far right-hand corner. Manchester City, they need to find some kind of foothold in this game. They need to start getting hold of the ball, keep possession, and keep Real Madrid away from their 18-yard box.
So Real Madrid 2, Manchester City 0. This is 5 Live from the BBC. We're also on Radio Manchester tonight for the commentary. It is PSG 1, Chelsea 1. And in the Buda Glimt Sporting match, Maz Faruqi is keeping an eye on the pictures from Norway.
Well, this will keep you very happy, John. Bodo Glimt are ahead. Sondre Blunstad fake, judged to have been brought down in the area by one of the Sporting players, stepped up, sent the keeper the wrong way. More history for Bodo this season in the Champions League. They lead Sporting by 1-0.
Also, Maz, I should point out that Lisbon is actually one of my favourite European cities. I've got nothing against Sporting. Real Madrid 2, Manchester City 0. Half-time whistles going in the Championship, so we'll go around the grounds very shortly. I can tell you it's half-time, Port Vale 0, Bradford City 1 in League 1. Manchester City with the ball in the centre circle, going to go to Middlesbrough shortly, but let's see what Diaz does with this. In fact, he gives it to Husanov, who then shifts it out to the far side, and Manchester City going back to the halfway line. So, come in, Rob Law.
To 0, and Borough have been dominant, had a flurry of chances early on. Charlton then went close on the counter through Charlie Kelman. His shot well saved before Middlesbrough hit the crossbar through Aidan Morris. They're playing with a real swagger, but no breakthroughs yet. Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 0 at the break.
Not half-time yet at Coventry, but Julia Bold.
It's Coventry 2, Preston 0. Brandon Thomas Asante, a corner came in, there was a real scramble in the box. Ellis Sims thought he'd got it. Thomas Asante's been given the goal. It's Coventry 2, Preston 0.
So the leaders 2-0 up. What about Oxford United trying to get out of the relegation zone? Mike Mainé.
And now a point off safety, Rovers a point from danger. Oxford United 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. Donnelly's cushion hit on the follow-up from a Toth save is the difference. There were a couple of chances for the youth to take the lead before that. Oxford United 1, Blackburn Rovers 0.
Half-time, Norwich City 0, Sheffield United 1. That Riedewald goal. It's Wimbledon 1, Blackpool 0 at half-time in the other match in League 1. And Manchester City have got the ball 10 yards inside their own half. Ball just played to Bernardo Silva. Pep Guardiola just arrives on the edge of his technical area. These sort of square technical areas here in the Bernabéu, and between the two of them we have the carpet with the image of the European Cup itself on it, and also written across it, the road to Budapest, which is where the final is being played this season at the end of May. And right now, the road to Budapest for Manchester City is looking distinctly rocky. 2-0 down. after playing so well in the opening exchanges. But then Valverde with 2 goals in 7 minutes, and Manchester City need to find something. Savinho now moving in from the right-hand side. Husanov's there as well. The referee's given a free kick for that challenge on Savinho. Free kick to City from the right.
They've got to find something, Manchester City, in the final third. For all the possession that they've had, they haven't really created any chances, and it's up to them to move the ball quicker. They've looked a lot better with the ball in the wide areas. Early on, they got a lot of success down the left-hand side with O'Reilly and Doku down this left-hand side. Balls flashing across the box, but they haven't continued to do that.
Half-time it is Birmingham 1, QPR 0, incidentally. Still playing West Brom 1, Southampton 0. Will be there shortly. And free kick for City then. Haaland, in fact, four City players are standing beyond the defensive line as Bernardo Silva waits and actually plays the ball down the line to Semenyo, and Semenyo drives it across, comes off the head of Rudiger, which carries it right across into the opposite full-back position to Doku, who has both Trent Alexander-Arnold and Valverde in front of him, uses Rodri behind him. Rodri now, remember, he was a former Atletico Madrid man, Rodri, but one of the big stars and heroes of Spanish sport after his brilliant role in winning the Euros in Germany back in 2024. Here he is again on the ball. Rodri thought about the long pass over to Savinho on the far side, goes short, and actually they had to be sharp there, Manchester City. Diaz to play it back to Bernardo Silva, who goes for the long pass, and off the head of Trent Alexander-Arnold it goes out for a throw-in level with the edge of the Real Madrid penalty area. 2-0 Real Madrid lead, still PSG 1, Chelsea 1.
Well, they're looking for answers, Manchester City. Bernardo Silva, we see him dropping in now, looking to try and get the ball and move things quicker. Him and Rodri, both of them trying to control possession.
Manchester City going again back to Diaz on the halfway line as Rodri looks to his left. Nico O'Reilly is there. It's again Doku running at the Real Madrid defenders, but they're doing their best now, Real Madrid, to double up on Doku. Trent Alexander-Arnold is getting support, whether it's from Valverde or from Brahim Diaz, but they win a free kick 10 yards inside the Real Madrid half on the left.
And the youngster Pitarch as well, he's dropping in, and they're doubling up. They've thwarted that threat that Manchester City had earlier on in the game.
Going to get another update on PSG Chelsea in a moment, but they have this free kick. As I say, it's nearer the halfway line, right out on the left-hand side. Bernardo Silva's going to take it. Doku's in a position, he's virtually got his heels on the white line, 20 yards away from Bernardo Silva, but I don't think he's going to use that option because Valverde stayed with him. I think Bernardo Silva is going to deliver this into the edge of the penalty area. Less than 10 minutes to go to half-time. City could do with a goal back before then. Bernardo Silva, here's the ball, then played in towards the penalty spot, stretching, header away, only out to Savinho. Semenyo's over there as well. Semenyo, 3 Real Madrid players on him, Savinho and Semenyo together, but he couldn't find his teammate, and Real Madrid will pass it forward for Vinicius, who goes for a roll, but actually in doing that loses possession. Then Savinho with a 50-50 comes out with the ball, but then passes it straight to Rudiger.
Yeah, they're struggling at the moment, Manchester City. Real Madrid have obviously been lifted by the 2 goals that they've got. The rotation, the turnover of possession from a Manchester City point of view isn't what they would want. They're pressing high. They've just put the pressure on the Real Madrid defenders there. They've won a throw-in over on the far side in the offensive third. But at the moment, Manchester City, they're just looking for something.
First time there's been 6 clubs from any country in the round of 16 in the Champions League, but it's actually turning into a real mixed bag of results for the English clubs over the course of these 2 nights. Manchester City 2-0 down. Going to get an update on Chelsea in a moment. That's a lovely ball from Rodri, just lifted it over the top into the area for Bernardo Silva to run onto, and Rudiger and Valverde had to come across and deal with that and put it behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's Bernardo Silva. He's the one that's trying to make things happen. Rodri that time lifts the ball over the back four of Real Madrid. Bernardo Silva gets himself in a decent position, wins a corner. He's trying to make something happen.
Manchester City winning here in the league phase in December. Only the 2nd time that they have won in this stadium, and came in here with confidence, probably partly from that, but 2-0 down. Bernardo Silva with the corner, which is to the edge of the 6-yard box, and it bounced all the way through for Semenyo. He looks to cross from the right, but that is charged down at source by Mendy. It's another corner from the right-hand side this time.
Yeah, they're going to have to find something, Manchester City, whether it be a set play or just through sheer persistence. But their early start to the game, they've actually adapted, Real Madrid, like you say. They've closed that left channel up, and they've made it difficult for Manchester City.
Yes, so Bernardo Silva trots all the way across there and prepares to take this from the far side. So it'll be the left-footed in-swinger. Just over 5 minutes to go to the break, and Real Madrid 2-0 up. Raises both arms now, and Diaz is tangling with Rudiger. That's a heavyweight contest. Bernardo Silva then into the near post, but Valverde was there to head it away. And actually, the referee, I think, has blown for an infringement in the box, and it's a free kick to Real Madrid inside their own penalty area.
Just watching Pep Guardiola down beneath us in that big technical area, hands in his pocket, he's got his suit jacket on tonight, wandering back towards the dugout to talk to his assistants and his coaching staff, looking for some kind of an answer, some kind of way back into this game.
So 2-0 to Real Madrid here in the Spanish capital. Chris Coles is watching across PSG Chelsea, and Chris,
another Paris Saint-Germain goal. They lead Chelsea 2-1. Ousmane Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner, with the second just after Cole Palmer had seen a shot brilliantly saved by Safonov. Dembele races up the other end, all his own work, in on his right foot, back on his left, back on his right, into the corner. Paris Saint-Germain 2, Chelsea 1.
Yes, the current Ballon d'Or holder after his brilliant season last season. And remember how PSG in the knockout stages last season went right through the English clubs, didn't they? And there's a little bit of a score to settle, remember, as well, with PSG and Chelsea having played each other in the final of the FIFA Club World Cup in the United States last year, and Chelsea winning handsomely. But 2-1 to PSG tonight.
Yeah, they won that game 3-0, didn't they? I think when you look at where they are at the moment, Chelsea, it was always going to be a difficult ask for them. PSG, they're not the same team as they were last year in the Champions League.
Half-time now at the Hawthorns. Adam Cottier.
West Brom 1, Southampton 0. Only a win will get West Brom out of the relegation places. There was elation when the goal went in, scored by Jason Malumbi from close range after fine aerial work from Daryl Dike. West Brom leading Southampton 1-0.
Manchester City on the attack. Trent Alexander-Arnold actually gave the ball away, and a lovely little move, but in the end Doku with a poor ball into the area too close to Courtois, and now Vinicius beats Husanov. He's up against Diaz, still Vinicius, clips it back to the edge of the penalty area. Pitarch then moves it out to the right-hand side. It is Pitarch in possession. Pitarch, little ball to Brahim Diaz. Brahim Diaz with a chip. This has to be cleared. It's not. Oh, Valverde's all the way through and scores a hat-trick in the first half against Manchester City. It's the Valverde show. This wasn't supposed to happen to Pep Guardiola in Manchester City. They're 3-0 down, and it's all Valverde.
Oh, he's a special player. He really is a special player, is the Uruguayan. That's another super finish. Excellent play from Real Madrid on the counter-attack. Vinicius Junior down the left-hand side with his pace and power, gets in behind the Manchester City defence. The ball's moved, the ball's rotated around the edge of the 18-yard box. It's lifted over the top from Diaz. And Valverde, he's still got so much to do. His first touch with his right boot lifts it over Gay. And then with his right foot again on the volley, past Donnarumma. We're seeing a special player tonight. That's a great hat-trick, it really is.
I have to say, at the time of the scoring of the goal, I wondered if Mark Gay could have done better there, but he was just beaten to it by the quick touch of Valverde. Gay came across, meaning to clear it away, but Valverde just got in with a little touch of the ball that took it past Gay and then dropped perfectly for him to drive it in with his right foot past Donnarumma.
He has a little bit of a look there, Valverde, with his first touch, but his first touch is perfection with his right boot. And as you say, it looks like Gay's going to clear the ball. But Valverde's first touch is delicate, it's dainty. He lifts it over Gay's head and it lands perfectly into his path to volley it past Donnarumma. Special goal.
I remember him scoring. Do you remember the 3-3 draw here between the sides a couple of seasons ago? Valverde scored a brilliant goal in that match. Well, tonight he's got 3 of them.
Like I said earlier, he's a special player, sometimes goes under the radar, but you don't stay at Real Madrid since 2016 with the amount of managers that he's played under, unless you've got something about you.
It's 3-0 to Real Madrid.
we won't be coming back to Madrid, me and you again, you know that, don't you?
Well, what was the score at half-time last night? It was 4-1, wasn't it? 4-1 at half-time last night over in the Metropolitano. And now the mood is absolutely transformed inside this stadium. Looking out of our little glass box here, we've got the media benches in the outside in front of us. So there's 4 media benches that run all the way the width of the stand. They're absolutely packed. You know, this is big box office, Real Madrid and Manchester City. And then in front of them, the Real Madrid fans who, as I look down at them now, hundreds of them are twirling their Real Madrid scarves above their heads. Some of them have actually got the Spanish flag, and they're twirling the Spanish flags above their heads. And in the area behind the goal, where they all sit with the white shirts on, behind the goal that Courtois is defending, they've got the Real Madrid purple and white flags as well in there, the sort of Royal of Real Madrid. 3-0, what a night they're having, and the best night so far in the job, you would have to think, for Alvaro Arbeloa, the former Liverpool man, and briefly West Ham as well, in charge until the end of the season. So 3-0 in added time, 1 minute of added time to play. Manchester City, now their need is actually becoming desperate to get a goal, to find a goal, to get back into the tie.
He wants half-time. Pep needs to get his team in there. He's down there deep in discussion with one of his coaches that we can see. They need to do something different, Manchester City. They started the game so well, they were having so much joy in the wide areas, but from that first goal that Real Madrid have got, they've just grown in stature in the game.
Manchester City losing here in Madrid, 3-0. Chelsea losing in Paris, 2-1 to PSG. And Maz Farouki keeping an eye on Bodo Glimt against Sporting.
Well, Ole Blomberg has made it 2-0 to Bodo as it stands. There is a VAR goal check going on at the moment. It was a lovely finish from the left of the area, just inside the right-hand post. I think it's just been given. So into first half stoppage time, Bodo 2, Sporting 0.
The old Bodo Glimt super play on the artificial pitch strikes again. And if they get a 2-goal lead to take to Lisbon next week, then we could be talking quarter-finals for Bodo Glimt, and we could well be talking quarter-finals for Real Madrid and not Manchester City, because the whistle goes here inside the Bernabéu, and it's the Real Madrid fans who are on their feet applauding. They're applauding their team, but they are also applauding their brilliant Uruguayan captain, Federico Valverde, Fede Valverde they call him. Well, he has scored a super hat-trick, and listen to this. It is a jubilant Bernabéu as the players leave the pitch. Vinicius is waving up to the stands, so's Brahim Diaz, Arda Güler as well, and they've come off, look as though they've already won it.
I can't believe what I've seen, John, in all honesty. When we talked in the build-up about this game, about the opportunity that Manchester City have here tonight, the players that Real Madrid are missing, you look at the quality that Manchester City exploited in the first 10-15 minutes of this game, you wouldn't think that they've gone in 3-0 down. Real Madrid have had 4 shots on target and scored 3 goals. They've been clinical, they've been decisive, and Manchester City now, they've got a mountain to climb.
Yep, that's it. That absolutely lays it right on the line, and those Real Madrid fans in front of us, so many smiling faces down there. They're all taking selfies of one another as well. 3-0 up at half-time against Manchester City, and City simply have to find a way back.
We'll be back with you guys in just a second, but it's also half-time in the Parc des Princes. Chris Coles.
Paris Saint-Germain 2, Chelsea 1, an extremely good watch, and Chelsea by and large have played well, but 2 of PSG stars have the holders in front. Bradley Barcola crashing in off the bar from 8 yards after a cushioned João Neves header, that to give PSG the lead. Chelsea though responded, Neto and João Pedro both going close before an unlikely equaliser from Malo Gusto. Fernandes found him on the right of the area, Gusto fired wide under the keeper. Palmer then had a wonderful chance to put Chelsea in front. Safanov made a good save, and from that save, PSG right up the other end. Dembele races through, twisting, turning, finishing into the corner. A blistering counter-attack to give Paris Saint-Germain a 2-1 half-time lead over Chelsea.
Meanwhile in Madrid, Paul Robinson, it doesn't matter how many seasons go by, I feel like we all just get lulled into this back end of the season Real Madrid malaise, which always seems to end when the Champions League gets to its business end.
Well, there's not a lot of good coming out of Real Madrid at the moment. We talked to the Spanish journalist before the game to try and get some kind of feeling of what's going on at the club, the amount of players that they've got missing. And we built this game up, and I genuinely came into this game tonight with a belief that Manchester City would swipe them aside. I felt, if this was Manchester City 3-0 up at half-time, I could completely understand that, the way that they played, the way they approached the game, the players that Real Madrid have got missing. This is an opportunity for Manchester City tonight to put this tie to bed, whereas Real Madrid have taken that opportunity. They've got a mountain to climb now, Manchester City. They've got a real problem.
I could talk to you, John, about Federico Valverde all night, because he's just one of those players, isn't he? Look, he's not a goal scorer. This isn't his job. He scored as many goals in that 45 minutes as his other 40 games this season combined. But when he does stuff like this, it just opens up the discussion into a player who is so essential to everything Real Madrid do.
We've talked about him so many times over the years, and he is one of those players. I find that you do have players sometimes, whenever I see him, whenever I come here and see Real Madrid, he always seems to play well. He's a high-quality player and can operate. He's kind of unstarry, isn't he? Because if you are talking about Real Madrid's main men, he'll never be mentioned, or he'll be mentioned way down the order. Well, tonight he's the top of the bill.
He's their modern-day Casemiro, I think, Paul.
Yeah, you could say that. And by the way, he's still only 27 years of age. When you look at him and you look at his experience at international level, he's got 71 caps for Uruguay. But as I'll repeat what I said in commentary, you don't stay at a club like Real Madrid for the amount of time that he has done unless you've got something and you're a little bit special, both on and off the field. The personality, the character that you've got in the dressing room, but you also have to contribute regularly on the field, which he does. He's an incredible player.
Astonishing first-half performance from him. John Paul, thank you for the time being. So obviously we're back inside the Bernabéu for second-half commentary. Real Madrid 3, Federico Valverde 3, Manchester City 0 at half-time, PSG 2, Chelsea 1 at half-time, and it's now half-time in Norway. Bodø/Glimt Sporting, Maz Farouki.
Yeah, really entertaining and open game, this one, Steve. One that took Bodo a little bit of time to warm to in what aren't too chilly conditions in the Arctic Circle tonight. But 30 minutes in, it opened up for them. A foul on Sondre Blomstedt fake just inside the Sporting area. He got up, took the penalty himself, sent the keeper the wrong way. Ole Blomberg then adding a second in first half stoppage time. There's a long way to go yet, but the team with the storyline in Europe this season lead in their last 16 first leg tie. Bodo 2, Sporting 0.
It is starting to feel like Coventry City could be marching back to the Premier League. Julia Bold.
It's Coventry 2, Preston 0, and the league leaders have been impressive. The first goal, Sakamoto with his left foot saw his shot slice through the Preston defence, though the Coventry player was credited here. Replays show the ball took a wicked deflection off Ben Whiteman. Daniel Iverson saw it late and the ball bounced past him into the back of the net. Then Brandon Thomas Asante doubling that lead. Matt Grimes putting in a good corner. Bit of a scramble in the box. Saw Ellis Sims attempt an overhead kick. Iverson looks to have palmed it away. Thomas Asante, though, poked in the rebound. Preston have spent 45 minutes weathering a storm that shows no sign of stopping. Coventry 2, Preston 0.
As it stands then, Coventry are going 7 points clear of Middlesbrough at the top of the table, and just as importantly, 9 points clear of Millwall in third. Borough 0, Charlton 0 is a live score at the start of the second half. Other games into the second halves: Birmingham 1, QPR 0, Norwich 0, Sheffield United 1, Oxford United 1, Blackburn 0. The other half time is West Brom 1, Southampton 0. In League 1 into the second half, Port Vale 0, Bradford City 1, and AFC Wimbledon 1, Blackpool 0. You are up to date, and Stuart Clarkson's got the news.
the voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Steve, thank you. The government's accepted its due diligence fell short during the appointment of Lord Mandelson as the UK's ambassador to the US. Documents released by ministers show that Keir Starmer was warned that his links to Jeffrey Epstein posed a general reputational risk. The papers also revealed that Lord Mandelson was given a payout of £75,000 when he left the civil service. Iran has launched more attacks on targets across the Middle East. Oman says several fuel tankers were hit in the port of Salalah, while 3 commercial ships were struck by projectiles in the Persian Gulf. The UN Security Council tonight has backed a resolution that condemns Iran for launching attacks on neighbouring countries. The proposal was put forward by Gulf states and does not mention the airstrikes carried out by the US and Israel on Iran. The resolution calls for an immediate end to Iranian attacks and condemns attempts by Tehran to block the Strait of Hormuz. And a number of tourist attractions, including Chester Zoo and Edinburgh Zoo, have called for changes to the way weather apps summarise the day's forecast with a single icon. They say the use of a rain cloud can lead to a 30% drop in customer numbers, even when much of the day is expected to be dry.
6 Music. Devote your mornings to music. Nick Grimshaw. Let 6 Music deliver us from grey skies with the best sounds in the world. And grace us with some incredible artists. Seema is with us this morning.
It is my favourite record of mine. It's a banger.
As we ascend into the day ahead with music beyond the mainstream. Nick Grimshaw on BBC Radio 6 Music. Just say, play 6 Music. This is 5 Live Sports, the Champions League with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
AFC Wimbledon have just scored a second. They now lead Blackpool by 2-0 in League One. In the Champions League half-times, Real Madrid 3, Manchester City 0, Paris Saint-Germain 2, Chelsea 1 and Bodo Glimt 2, Sporting Lisbon 0. We'll be back to the Bernabéu for second half commentary shortly. Already today, Arsenal needed a late penalty to draw 1-1 with Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga? In the Champions League against the Bundesliga side. Kai Havertz got the goal. Here's Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta.
So the game had different phases. Some in the first half where we were very dominant and we had a big chance with Gavi to put it 1-0. And when you miss those chances, obviously the game can change. Then after that, we didn't finish enough actions. I mean, every time we got in and around the box, we gave the ball away, and that allowed certain counter-attacks, very unlike us. And without really conceding nothing, we needed to solve certain things. We discussed that at halftime, and we expected to start very fast, especially because we knew certain routines that they have on kickoffs, because they had 3 at the weekend, and still we get caught. We're not ready enough. We concede a chance on the header, and after that we concede the goal. So when you give that hope and an advantage to the opponent, at that level they're going to take it, and then we have to really dig in, because emotionally it becomes a very different challenge. And we had 10-15 minutes that we didn't really have enough threat and enough understanding of how we have to attack that block. But in the last 20 minutes, 25, with the changes, I think it was much better. And at the end we find a way to score the goal and draw the game.
Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta. Golf next. The Players' Championship gets underway at Sawgrass tomorrow. There are lots of questions about the fitness of Rory McIlroy. He's been out on the range, and Ian Carter, you've been watching him.
Yes, he has been out on the range, and he managed to hit wedges. He went all the way down to 6 irons, not hitting any of the big clubs. He's just spoken to us. He says it's an hour-by-hour situation, but things are improving, and he's got the best part of 20 hours before he has to tee off, so he is going to leave it until the last moment before deciding. He said that it's an hour-by-hour situation, probably a game-time decision, but all indications are pointing to the right direction. So hopefully he'll get a good night tonight. He said the drugs are working wonders, and then it's just keep it going from there. He's, as I say, hit balls on the range. He's now going to walk around 9 holes with a wedge and a putter to get a feel for the areas around the greens. No great exertion, and it looks like he's going to be giving it a go tomorrow, and he might get an extra period of rest as as well, because the weather forecast is very uncertain for tomorrow afternoon, so that might help as well.
Thank you, Ian. That's our correspondent Ian Carter. Rounds 3 and 4 over the weekend. You'll get commentary as well on BBC Sounds. Cam Norrie has made the quarterfinals at the tennis at Indian Wells. He beat qualifier Rinky Hijikata in straight sets. Let's speak to tennis correspondent Russell Fuller. He loves it there at Indian Wells. That's a big win for him.
He does. 2021 champion, broke in the first game of the match, won the last 5 games as he beat the qualifier 6-4, 6-2. Could face Carlos Alcaraz now, Steve, in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Alcaraz has got to play Casper Ruud later, and he was telling me that this Indian Wells campaign was kick-started by a 3-hour, 20-minute practice session with Yannick Sinner that went on longer than expected. Sinner was telling Norrie, "This is too much fun." It was 35-degree heat at the time. "I'll cancel my photo shoot. You put off your publicity gig that you've got to do after this, and let's play on," which they did.
Great match for Jack Draper later. He's facing Novak Djokovic. Let's hear from Draper.
Anyone who's sort of in the game and knows tennis know that what he's done in the sport and what he's still doing is mind-blowing. An incredible champion, someone I have massive respect for. Watched him play Andy in many, many finals when I was younger, and just to play him in tournaments and to get that chance because he's still going is something I don't take lightly. I'm very grateful for.
What sort of shape is Draper in at the minute then, Russell?
It's match number 6 of his comeback, Steve, so he's not physically where he wants to be, and that match sharpness is quite where he wants to be. Novak Djokovic had that run to the Australian Open final, hasn't played since, has looked a little bit scratchy in the first couple of rounds, but he's got more matches under his belt, and Djokovic says that he very much is playing with the fire, the flair, the quality and the motivation, and he was talking last week about maybe going on to the LA Olympics of 2028 once again.
Just on Draper then, when you're looking at these top players trying to get back to their best, how much are you expecting to see at this stage? Because it is clearly still very early in that return.
Yes, even though he managed to do a lot of training when he was off with the bone bruising in his arm, because it allowed him to work on other aspects of his game, and he was certainly working very, very hard in the gym on his fitness. Any player will tell you that you just cannot replicate that match situation, and therefore it does take a number of matches. This is match number 6. I don't really think we'll probably see Jack Draper at his best before the summer, in all honesty, but that doesn't mean he couldn't beat Novak Djokovic tonight.
Also a great match for Sonia Kartel later.
Yes, she has had back pain for the last couple of rounds, but it's not stopped her beating 2 seeded players in Emma Navarro and Madison Keys, last year's Australian Open champion. Well, today the challenge gets even tougher from about 11 o'clock this evening, because she's up against this year's Australian Open champion, the 3rd seed, Elena Rybakina. And when she's at her best, she's virtually unplayable, as even Arina Sabalenka found out in the final in Melbourne a few weeks ago.
Russell, thank you very much. That's our tennis correspondent, Russell Fuller. A massive goal has gone in the championship promotion race. It's at the Riverside, the game between Middlesbrough and Charlton. Rob Lowe.
And Middlesbrough's push for an automatic promotion place has just hit a speed bump, Steve. Charlton against the run of play, a long throw into the box, and Connor Cody on hand to prod the ball home. A huge goal at the top of the championship. It's Middlesbrough 0, it's Charlton 1.
Right, if it stays like that then, Coventry, who are currently 2-0 up in their game against Preston, will move on to 77 points. Borough will have 69 and Millwall just 1 behind on 68. We are ready to go in the Bernabéu for second half commentary of Real Madrid Manchester City with Paul Robinson and John Murray.
And both managers have made a change at the break. Alvaro Arbeloa has changed his left back. He's brought Fran Garcia on for Ferland Mendy. And Pep Guardiola, as the whistle goes for the start of the second half, Real Madrid Kickoff leading by 3-0. Tijani Reinders has come on, Paul Robinson, and Savinho is off. So clearly he feels that he needs more in central midfield.
I think that's where they've been overpowered, if you like. Rodri's sat at the base of that central midfield area, but the turnover of possession for Manchester City, it's been too quick. The game's passed them by. They've not been exciting, Real Madrid. They've not played in a certain way where you go, wow, Real Madrid are 3-0 up in this game. You go, they've had 4 shots on goal and scored 3 goals. They've been very, very effective and clinical when they've had the opportunities to.
So that is the voice of Paul Robinson, England goalkeeper, with us here in our commentary box, high up in the Bernabéu Stadium, after an astonishing first half, really. After Manchester City were much the better team in the first 20 minutes, but then Real Madrid took over, and more specifically, Federico Valverde took over, scoring a hat-trick, and a brilliantly taken hat-trick it was, with goals in the 20th, 27th and 42nd minutes. And Manchester City are facing what would be, this level of scoreline, their biggest defeat of the season, and a huge turnaround job at the Etihad next Tuesday night. So it is Manchester City who first of all need a goal. Semenyo now playing very much on the right-hand side, with Semenyo having gone off, crosses the ball in, but it's blocked on the edge of the penalty area. And of course the harder that Manchester City will push and try for a goal back, that will leave space. And now it's been run to the edge of the penalty area by Diaz, who shoots it, saved. Vinicius is very nearly there. It's parried out by Donnarumma. I thought it was going to fall to Vinicius, who would have surely made it 4-0, but Manchester City were just able to scramble it away.
It's an incredible block by Ruben Diaz, it really is. It's a last-ditched attempt to put his body in front of the ball. It's a great block, super play down the right-hand side from Bram Diaz again, cuts inside, gets his shot away. Good save from Donnarumma, and just as you think Vinicius Junior is going to tap it into an empty net, there's Ruben Diaz. That is a super-duper block.
I'll run you through the teams when we get a chance. Listeners to BBC Radio Manchester are with us as well on 5 Live, so welcome back to you. And Doku goes for a dart to the byline and wins a corner off Trent Alexander-Arnold. So Real Madrid now with Courtois, the goalkeeper, Alexander-Arnold, Howson, Rudiger and Fran Garcia, the substitute. Tchouameni with Valverde and the 18-year-old Pitarch in midfield. Then Brahim Diaz, former Manchester City man, on the right, Vinicius Junior on the left, and Arda Güler through the middle. Run you through the City team after this corner, which is to be taken from the far side. The City left, it's Reinders who's going to take it, the newly arrived substitute. It's into the back post, and a chance is put wide by O'Reilly arriving on it. Courtois stretched for it. I thought from this angle he was going to be able to get contact on it. He didn't, and O'Reilly arriving at the back post couldn't direct it on target. And I wonder whether, even if he'd been able to put it into the net, whether that might have been disallowed for Haaland's challenge on Courtois.
Well, that was a real chance. That was a really good chance for Manchester City. It's a simple set play for all the intricacy that we see and all the movement in the 18-yard box and the 6-yard box to put the goalkeeper off. The delivery was excellent. O'Reilly arriving late at the far post. I think he was surprised that the ball came to him. He kind of stood with his legs together, let the ball hit him, and it went wide. That was a chance. It was an empty net. Courtois came out, completely misjudged the flight of the ball, and there was an empty net there for O'Reilly. Should he have taken it?
Real Madrid leading Manchester City by 3-0. Yes, you've just switched on 3-0. And Manchester City, who went out to Real Madrid last season in the playoff knockout round. In fact, Manchester City have gone out to Real Madrid in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Chelsea are losing 2-1 in Paris against PSG. Buda Glimt winning 2-0 against Sporting. I'll run you through all of the scores in the Championship as well, which are well underway in the second half when I get a chance to do that. But it is Real Madrid with Arda Güler, the Turkish international. Brahim Pitarch plays it out to the right-hand side to Brahim Diaz. Pitarch tries to latch onto the return pass, but Mark Gay was able just to turn on the pace there and pass the ball back to Donnarumma, who's already made one important save in the second half. But there was a point in the first half, Paul, wasn't there, where Real Madrid had 3 attempts on goal and had scored from 2 of them.
Yeah, they've been exposed tonight, Manchester City. We know that they've got weaknesses this season. Defensively, they do concede goals and they can be got at. And the teams that have got results against Manchester City, we've seen them attack them and exploit those weaknesses. And that's exactly what Real Madrid have done.
Manchester City, Doku playing it through. Now they chip right across the face of goal, but I think the offside flag would have gone up anyway. I think Reinders had strayed into an offside position, so it's a free kick to Real Madrid. So 3-0 here in the Spanish capital. To Coventry, Julia Bold.
Coventry 3, Preston 0, and it was a penalty. Valentin brought down Efron Mason-Clark. Matt Grimes stepped up, left foot straight down the middle. Coventry 3, Preston 0.
Here are the latest scores in the Championship. Birmingham City leading Queen's Park Rangers by 1-0. Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 0. Norwich 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Oxford winning 1-0, West Brom winning 1-0. Real Madrid in possession, all in white, attacking towards the end. You'll be familiar with it, I would imagine, where hundreds and hundreds of Real Madrid fans wear white, sitting row after row behind the goal, which is to our left. And the Manchester City fans, if you've been here to the Bernabéu to watch your team, you'll know exactly where they are. All, well, almost all high up in the top tier, although there is a little section, because the roof comes down in front of our eye line here, so we can only see there's a little section on the second highest tier of Manchester City fans. This has been a real shock to the system for them as well, and they will not have been expecting this.
Oh, you can see them, they're sat there, they're looking very disgruntled as a bunch. I don't think they expected this at all, as we didn't before the game. I think their team's performance will have disappointed them, and I think that we spoke before the game, didn't we, at the junction that Manchester City are at, with the importance of the phase of the season that they're at. If they lose tonight and the way that they're losing at the moment, it might have an effect on the rest of the season.
Semenyo, step overs from him, then a foul when the ball fell to O'Reilly, a foul on the edge of the penalty area on Brahim Diaz, and it's a free kick to Real Madrid. Wimbledon have scored to make it 2-0, but actually Blackpool have got a goal back, so it's Wimbledon 2, Blackpool 1 in League One, and Bradford City have doubled their lead at Port Vale. So Port Vale bottom of the table, and Bradford City pushing for promotion are 2-0 up at Vale Park. And I can also tell you that Norwich City have just equalised against Sheffield United. Jack Stacey, the goal scorer there. Our Cheltenham coverage, the third day, will be on Sports Extra from 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, as we continue to bring you every race live, and Friday's racing will be here on 5 Live on Gold Cup Day, when Mark Chapman will be there presenting 5 Live Sport live from Cheltenham. Here is Semenyo on the right, playing it back to Rodri. Rodri 30 yards from goal, square from him. Mark Gaze joined in, gives it to Doku. Doku goes past Alexander-Arnold, it's near the corner flag, and then Valverde comes across. The two Real Madrid players on the Belgian international. Doku tries to win a throw-in, fails to do so, and it is just launched away back to the halfway line, where Donnarumma actually comes out of play actually for a throw-in to Manchester City over there on the left.
Well, that's what they have to do, Manchester City, in those wide areas. Doku was probably the best player in the first half in a green shirt for Manchester City, and when they give him the ball and they give him the service, and he makes the pitch big. I mean, I know that sounds daft, the pitch doesn't change in size, but when you say he makes the pitch big, he stretches the defence. He goes out to the touchline and he makes the pitch big, as in when his players and his teammates are looking in and around him, there's space to play the ball and rotate the ball around, and he did that in the first half. They've not done enough of it since.
Manchester City continue in their bottle green kit, the same kit that they wore when they won here in the league phase. Remember, Manchester City finished 8th and Real Madrid finished 1 place below them, but that meant that they had to play Benfica, Jose Mourinho's Benfica, in the knockout play-out round last month. Manchester City, though, after that very good 2-1 win, 3-0 down here in the 2 legs when it really, really matters. Bernardo Silva, Semenyo is going to go for goal from a tight angle, but Courtois, all in light blue, just spread himself at the near post. It hit him as he made this blocking save behind for a corner.
Yeah, that's a good block from Courtois. It's a decent piece of play from Manchester City. Bernardo Silva into Semenyo, he's on a really tight angle. What Courtois does well is he knows his surroundings, he understands where he is, he just stands big at the front post and lets the ball hit him.
And Bernardo Silva was going to take the corner, but the referee is not happy about something. The Italian referee, Maurizio Mariani, and whatever it was, there's Haaland is making a real nuisance of himself as the corner comes in from Bernardo Silva, but that's headed away to comparative safety. Husanov, poor pass from him. Real Madrid hit a long one. This is for Vinicius to race onto. Husanov's trying to get there. Vinicius still going into the area. He's round Donnarumma. Donnarumma went down, and I think the penalty's been given. Vinicius went down. I thought Donnarumma got a touch on the ball there. He's protesting about it, but it's a penalty for the challenge by Donnarumma on Vinicius.
Immediately the referee's on the scene, he keeps up with play. It's a swift counter-attack from Real Madrid. Once again, it's a long straight ball over the top. Catches Manchester City cold. One pass over the top into Vinicius Junior. Gets the wrong side of Kusanov, who then can't challenge him in the 18-yard box. He looks like he's about to lose control of the ball, Vinicius Junior. He does, it's gone to his left, but the goalkeeper comes out. He has a big swipe with his right paw, misses the ball, gets Vinicius Junior's right foot, and the referee, absolutely correct, awarded a penalty. This one won't be overturned.
Yeah, and it's a yellow card for Donnarumma, who's still complaining about it. You know, he went to ground, Donnarumma, a sort of clawing attempt to get the ball. He didn't get it. He got Vinicius. And it's a penalty. And it's a chance now from the spot for, and it'll be the man who won the penalty, Vinicius, who is going to take it to put Real Madrid 4-0 up against Manchester City. So much for Manchester City being favourites.
Well, who said that? I think that was you, wasn't it?
Well,
it
may well have been Paul.
The goalkeeper's got Vinicius right where he wants him there, but Vinicius has been clever. He's moved the ball very quickly. He's had a big swipe with his right hand at the ball, missed the ball and got Vinicius.
So Vinicius Junior standing right behind the ball, just inside the area, then steps slowly out to his left, right-footed, a little hop, and Donnarumma saves it down to his left. It was a poor penalty, actually, but he went the right way, Donnarumma, and that was key, and he was able to parry it away and then flap it further away, and that could yet be vital, that save from Donnarumma from the penalty spot.
We spoke about him before the game, didn't we? Big saves in big games. He did it last season at Paris Saint-Germain on their way to winning this trophy, and actually he gave away the penalty, and he stands big. Vinicius does the stuttering run-up, he waits, he looks at the goalkeeper, and he waits till the final minutes, and the goalkeeper still stood there in front of him. Opens it up with the inside of his right foot down to the goalkeeper's left. Big Donnarumma collapses to his left-hand side. That's a really good save.
And that keeps it at 3-0. And maybe if he'd scored that, maybe the tie would already have been beyond Manchester City. Listen, I would never count them out. There's still an enormous amount of playing time to go in this tie with the second leg in Manchester next week. But that could be absolutely pivotal. We will see how things develop. But the man who won the Champions League last season, Gianluigi Donnarumma, with PSG, making another crucial save after all of those saves that he made for the French champions last season. So it remains 3-0 to Real Madrid here in the Bernabéu as the ball is passed back to Donnarumma. And let's get another update from Chris Coles, who's watching across PSG-Chelsea.
Paris Saint-Germain 2, Chelsea 1. It's been a much more circumspect start to this second half compared to the fireworks of the first. Paris Saint-Germain are pressing, Barcola looking dangerous, so too Dembele, but no further goals to the half-time score. Still, Paris Saint-Germain 2, Chelsea 1.
Twinkling play from Doku, up against Alexander-Arnold, stabs it across, and Rudiger did well. He stuck a leg out. He might even have been quite close to scoring an own goal there, but it flashed past the post. It's a corner.
He didn't know where that was going, Rudiger. That was just complete instinct, his defensive instinct. He put himself in a position level with the near post. Doku again on the left-hand side, fires it across the 6-yard box. Pure instinct from Rudiger, sticks his right leg out, diverts it for a corner. That could have ended up in the back of the net.
Corner to Manchester City then. Donnarumma having saved a penalty. It was 3-0 at half-time, still 3-0. The corner. Reinders takes it into the near post, and that's comfortably and easily headed away by hat-trick man Federico Valverde. And now straight back to Chris Coles because
Chelsea are level. Paris Saint-Germain 2, Chelsea 2. Enzo Fernandez has equalised for Chelsea. Great run down the left, pulled back to Fernandez, who is in an oceans of space inside the box. Neto finds him, Fernandez finishes it. What a game in Paris. PSG 2, Chelsea 2.
Excellent piece of defending here, way down below us by the substitute, Fran Garcia. Semenyo might have been in there, but he had to hook it away. Semenyo was all over him, and in the end, final touch off Semenyo, and it's behind for a goal kick. Incidentally, you can see all of these goals and the Champions League highlights on the BBC later tonight, and do not miss some of the Valverde goals. They're brilliant, aren't they, Paul?
His first touch for definitely two of them. I mean, he's been so instrumental, cutting in off this right-hand side, and he's finishing. He's been extremely clinical.
As O'Reilly, who was a little uncertain there as a long ball was played over the top of him, cleared the ball away but gives it back to Real Madrid, who again are searching for a fourth goal here. Yes, the highlights. There's a Champions League match of the day on tonight on BBC One with Gabby Logan and the team. And, of course, watch it anytime on the iPlayer. And the highlights, the goals, will be on all of the various BBC platforms for you to watch from 10 o'clock tonight. Real Madrid continue to build. 5 Live from the BBC. Live from Madrid for a second consecutive night after we watched Atletico Madrid dismantle Tottenham yesterday. Well, Real Madrid are doing the same sort of thing to Manchester City. Vinicius on the left. Vinicius, then Pitch Arch, Fran Garcia, and the men in white are just knocking the ball around very nicely inside Manchester City territory. It's also a Champions League final score night tonight, so on the BBC Sport website or the app, just click on Champions League final score and you can listen to the commentary alongside the graphics, the Diddy printer, and everything else. Ball is won on the halfway line by Rudiger. Real Madrid continue to bring it forward, but there's a poor pass actually straight to Husanov. However, Real Madrid take up possession again, and Valverde might be in business again. Gives it to Vinicius, is into the box, still going Vinicius, and shoots from a wide angle, but straight at Donnarumma, who almost swallowed the ball up there into his midriff, underarms it out. They've got it back, Real Madrid, and then a shot from the edge of the penalty area, which flashes across the face of goal from Arda Güler. Hands across his face, goal kick Manchester City.
That was Manchester City overplaying, Real Madrid doing very well, and on Manchester City trying to counter-attack. The ball was with Donnarumma, he rolls it out, and then they try and play a ball into Erling Haaland. That straight ball, it's very, very difficult for a goalkeeper, for a centre-forward when the goalkeeper does that, and he's looking at his own goal. Close down quickly, turnover of possession, and that's another good opportunity for Real Madrid.
Real Madrid 3, Manchester City 0. Real Madrid, who lost their last 4 matches against English clubs. Manchester City here before Christmas, earlier in the league stage at Liverpool by 1-0, and then of course the 2 matches against Arsenal last season. But unless something dramatic, very dramatic happens here, they're not going to be losing this one. Although Tchouameni has sat down and he seems to be feeling his right calf or his right shin, and he will need some treatment. So let's see what's happening elsewhere. We'll start with Maz Faruqi, who's keeping across Bodo Glimt and Sporting.
Well, dare I say it, there's almost a swagger about Bodo in this second half. A couple of really good chances to add a third to extend their lead, but Sporting are ramping up the pace at the other end as they chase this game. Bodo still lead against Sporting by 2-0 in the Arctic Circle. They've played 61 minutes.
Still PSG 2, Chelsea 2. Chelsea twice coming back from behind to make it 2-2. Earlier, Bayer Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 1. We heard from Mikel Arteta at half-time. You'll hear him as well on the Champions League debrief if you search Football Daily on BBC Sounds. And this looks as though it might be the end of the evening for Tchouameni, Paul.
Yeah, it was coming together, him and Rodri. It was an aerial ball. Tchouameni got there first, but Rodri, it's an industrial challenge, for want of a better phrase, and he catches him, I think, on the inside of his leg. He's not happy as he's wandering off. It was a clumsy challenge from Rodri.
They're going to have a think about it, although there's no immediate signs of a substitution, I don't think. And Tchouameni may yet come back onto the field.
There is on the other bench
Cherki, who has just appeared. There's Pep Guardiola as well, just also coming out from underneath the roof of the Manchester City dugout. Pep Guardiola, his 190th match as a manager in the Champions League tonight, incidentally, which equals Sir Alex Ferguson's total. And only Carlo Ancelotti, the great former Real Madrid Champions League winning coach, has more as a manager matches in the Champions League, 218. So I suppose it is a bit of a moot point to whether Pep Guardiola will actually get to 218. And, you know, there is still this mood music at the moment about whether he will continue at the end of this season. So, naturally it follows, 3-0 down in the first leg of this tie, then, you know, were that to be the case, this could be his last Champions League tie as the Manchester City manager.
Oh, you starting rumours again, John?
No.
I mean, it's a topic of conversation, obviously,
conversation.
that regularly rears its head, doesn't it? Because of the length of contract that he does or doesn't sign.
Yeah, former Barcelona man, great rivalry. And here's Vinicius for Real Madrid, who goes for a curler from the edge of the area. But we could see here, we were right behind the line of it. I think people inside the Bernabéu thought it might bend in, but it was always going wide.
Yeah, it was one of those where he got himself into a decent area outside the 18-yard box on the angle, opens it up, and he looks to try and curl it into the far post. Goes harmlessly wide for Manchester City.
It's going to be a double change. Ryan Aït-Nouri as well as Shirky is going to come on. Let's continue around the grounds into the Championship to Middlesbrough Charlton. Rob Law.
And it's Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 1. Middlesbrough with a chance to equalise moments ago as the ball fell to Tommy Conway at the near post, but he blazed the effort over the crossbar. Borough looking desperate and frustrated. Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 1.
Still Birmingham 1, QPR 0. That early goal from Patrick Roberts. Still Norwich 1, Sheffield United 1. Jack Stacey equalising after Jairo Riedewald scored for Sheffield United. To the Hawthorns, Adam Cottier.
West Brom still lead Southampton by 1-0 after a first-half strike from Jason Malumbi. This has been a really gutsy performance from West Brom. Victory will take them outside of the relegation places, but Southampton continue to chip away. West Brom 1, Southampton 0.
Still Real Madrid 3, Manchester City 0, going to Oxford shortly. But Manchester City with Semenyo on the right-hand side in his first appearance in the Champions League. It's turning out to be a forgettable one for him and also for Mark Gay. 3-0 down here at City with the ball, and Diaz turning it to his left to Mark Gay. Quick pass out to Doku against Alexander-Arnold, beats him down the outside, gets the ball in, and it's hiked away with the right foot by Antonio Rudiger to comparative safety. But Manchester City still have it, searching for that first goal of the tie. You would say it's almost essential that they do get one here. Ball for Semenyo, then to Haaland, who couldn't turn it into the back post. It was all the way through him. And did Rudiger get a touch on that, which actually took it away from Haaland? Quite possibly. Manchester City still with it, perhaps getting closer. Rodri scoops one to Doku. Doku's ball, the two of them are on him this time. Alexander-Arnold and Valverde, and it's behind for a corner.
What a piece of defensive play. That is an incredible piece of, positional awareness. A touch that he's got on in front of his own goal. It's a ball across the 6-yard box at pace, and it looks for all the world that Erling Haaland, he's just going to tap the ball into an empty net. The goalkeeper's at the near post. Antonio Rudiger, he gets there, whether it's his shin pad, his shin, his ankle, he just gets a tiny touch that takes it away from Erling Haaland.
Here's the corner from Reinders, but it's straight into the gloves of Courtois, who catches that. No problem at all, and then underarms it out, but the attempted pass forward for Vinicius was intercepted by Husinov, who then couldn't keep the ball in, so it's a throw-in for Real Madrid, who are also going to bring on Camavinga, who has been on the injured list. He's actually a dental problem, Camavinga, the French international, so he is going to come on. But first, it is the Manchester City change in. It's Bernardo Silva and Semenyo who are going to be replaced by Shirky and Aït-Nouri. So that's going to have a little bit of a rejig with Aït-Nouri coming on, so presumably O'Reilly will play purely in midfield.
I'm surprised that Bernardo Silva's coming off, because he's his gaffer on the field, isn't he? He's a player that he relies on heavily. Every Manchester City side that we see, when he does rotate players in and out, Bernardo Silva is not one of those, and quite often we see him play the full 90 minutes. So that's it's a big change for Pep Guardiola.
And it looks as though it's going to be Arda Güler who is coming off, I think, although they're yet to make the change. And possibly, yeah, it is Arda Güler who is coming off. So interesting move by Alvaro Arbeloa to take off the man who's effectively been playing as his false nine, although he's had a very quiet night actually, Arda Güler, and bringing on the more defensive, much more defensive-minded Camavinga.
Well, the clock's ticking along quite nicely, isn't it, from a Real Madrid point of view? Sat 3-0 up, entering the 70th minute here inside the stadium. If they take a 3-goal lead to the Etihad next week, that's something that I'm sure he would have taken before the game, and I'm sure he's looking to stubborn up that defence.
This would be, of all of these meetings between these sides, this is the 16th in the space of the last 14 years. This would be Real Madrid's biggest win against Manchester City. in a competitive match. Howson chipping the ball forward for Vinicius, who was up against Diaz, who just about got the better of that.
Have they had a bigger defeat this season, John, Manchester City?
Oh, it's been lost by Diaz. Oh, but a crucial challenge. A crucial challenge, and he was in danger there, Diaz, as well, of possibly conceding a penalty as he lunged for the ball, but he got it.
Well, that's come from nowhere. That really has come out of nowhere from a Manchester City point of view. Once again, sloppy in possession, but I think it's a really good challenge from Ruben Diaz. Perfectly timed. I mean, it was him that gave away the ball. It was a difficult pass that he gave away. Tried to play the ball across to the goalkeeper, lets it run under his foot, but he just about times that to perfection.
It would be their biggest margin of defeat in any competition this season, because they've lost on a number of occasions by a couple of goals, not least in Buda in the league phase, but to lose by 3 goals. However, they still do have 20 minutes plus added time to play, and they've threatened sporadically Manchester City, but so have Real Madrid.
They've got to give themselves a chance now. You know, forget about what's happened. We can pick the bones out of the performance, which I'm sure Pep will do afterwards in his post-match press conference. But actually now we're in a situation with 20 minutes to go in the game. They have to give themselves a chance of the tie. You know, you don't take this as an individual occasion. You take this as a game that is over 2 legs, and you think, right, OK, we get 1 goal in this. All of a sudden, it takes on a different complex. You go back to the Etihad with a 3-1 deficit. Manchester City score the first goal and the atmosphere changes. All of a sudden it's a very different environment.
It's Paul Robinson, this is 5 Live. And Radio Manchester, listen live as well via BBC Sounds. Continuing round the Championship to Oxford and Mike Minay.
Well, Blackburn are pushing for an equaliser, having largely been nullified in this game. Big moment seconds ago, a corner caused chaos, keeper out of position, too many bodies in the way on any Blackburn effort, and there was a handful of them as well. Oxford United 1, Blackburn Rovers 0.
Manchester City with the ball just around the edge of the Real Madrid penalty area. Crucial minutes these in this tie, the final 20 minutes, as Manchester City search for that goal to narrow the deficit. As Shirky into the match for the first time, plays it to Mark Gay. Mark Gay shuffling with it towards the edge of the penalty area. Back to Shirky, he shoots, it's deflected, which carries it over the top. Courtois was concerned there for a moment, rind as it was with the shot, but it dipped over the top of the crossbar for another City corner.
Yeah, it's a decent effort from Reinders from distance, but Real Madrid will be quite happy if the shots that are coming in on Courtois' goal are kept to that type of range. But all of a sudden there seems to be a slight change in atmosphere. There's a little bit of a lull with the home supporters. Manchester City, you do feel they've got an opportunity. If they can get on the score sheet now, don't rule them out getting 2, sorry.
Norwich City are now 2-1 up on Sheffield United. They've come from a goal down. Amankwa Forson with the second goal for Norwich City, and that one coming in the 84th minute. Corner to Manchester City. Real Madrid leading by 3-0. It's a deep delivery. Courtois comes for it, a big stretch, and he catches that at the absolute height of the delivery. Brilliant play from the goalkeeper. Paul?
Really well judged from Courtois. I think from Manchester City's point of view, you would say he's been very much underemployed, hasn't he? I think the possession that they had in the early stages of this game, maybe had 1 or 2 crosses to deal with and balls that flashed across his 6-yard area, but certainly in this second half where you would think Manchester City are definitely going looking for something in this game, the Real Madrid goalkeeper barred the block at the near post that he made from some...
Oh! Almost given away by Howson, and really Nico O'Reilly should have buried that in the middle of the goal. I mean, Courtois was there as well, and somehow that was deflected by the goalkeeper. That was so sharp from Courtois after it was dwelt on the edge of the area. It was the teenager, wasn't it? It was Pitch-Arch who had dwelt on the ball, but here's the corner anyway, into the near post. Haaland jumps for it, headed away though behind him. Manchester City so close to a goal back had it not been for the legs of Courtois.
Well, I think you can tell by our level of conversation that there was not a lot really happening in the game at that point. The goalkeeper was in full control of the ball, played a simple pass out to Pitch-Arch, and he lost the ball, 7 yards from goal, and O'Reilly really should have put Manchester City on the score sheet. That was from absolutely nowhere.
Yep. So still 3-0 to Real Madrid. What about Buda Glimt? In fact, first of all, we will hear further news on PSG-Chelsea from Chris Coles.
Paris Saint-Germain are back in front, and it is another goalkeeping error. Philip Jorgensen had such an impressive game, but he gives it away in the penalty area, and from there PSG work it to Vitinha, who lifted over Jorgensen, who was rushing out to try and alleviate his mistake. It's another goalkeeping error, and with 15 minutes to play, Paris Saint-Germain 3, Chelsea 2.
So PSG ahead for the third time on the night in Paris. And as for Buda Glimt, Maz Farouki.
Well, Kasper Hjorg has scored Bodo's third goal. The fans in the stands in the Arctic Circle are in absolute dreamland. 73 minutes played in this one. Bodo 3, Sporting 0.
3-0 to Buda.
You're going again, aren't you?
And the story,
you're going to go again.
The story goes on. I mean, that is a terrific scoreline. Is Real Madrid 3-0 up here? Couldn't find the pass through. They've made a double change, Real Madrid, incidentally. So the Argentine, the teenage Argentine, Franco Mastantuono, has come onto the field, and Pitarch, who very nearly gave that goal away, straight off the field. So that's the end of his evening. And also coming onto the field for Real Madrid. Is Manuel Angel, who is coming on, the 21-year-old midfielder who has replaced Pitarch. So he's come on, and Brahim Diaz is the player who's come off. Real Madrid leading by 3-0. And here is Shirky. Shirky playing the ball infield to Rodri. Across it goes. And Doku again, running a more central position. Doku into the area, bounces back to him, but then onto Doku and through to Courtois, who could just drop forward onto the ball.
In what's been a very average performance from a Manchester City point of view, and the scoreline reflects that, Jeremy Doku has actually been their biggest attacking threat. I think he's looked lively at times when he's got the ball, comes into the side tonight, down that left-hand side. The thing I like about him is he's very direct. The first time he gets the ball, his first thought is either a pass forward or take on his full-back.
3-0 to Real Madrid in the last 15 minutes of the match now. Valverde, who's actually been quite quiet in the second half, but we'll give him that after his brilliant first half performance and the hat-trick that he scored. And a few olés now begin to break out from the home supporters, who've had a bit of a tough time of it lately. Barcelona very much the favourites to win the league, as Manchester City play the ball out from the back, and then actually it's Husanov who goes back to Diaz as Rodri drops deep into his own penalty area, and then the ball is flicked across by Shirky, but Mark Gay didn't give him much of a chance with that, and actually had to scramble to head it back to Donnarumma.
They've struggled in possession, Manchester City. It's been slow at times. The build-up that we're used to seeing from Pep Guardiola's team, it's not been as fluid as you would expect it. I think obviously when the first goal went in, it shocked them, it rocked them a little bit, and they've never really recovered. Those 3 early goals in the first half. Manchester City, they've tried, they've huffed and puffed and tried to get in this game, but it's just not really worked for them this evening.
Incidentally, the midfielder Manuel Angel, who's come on, this is his first appearance in the Champions League. That's some show of confidence, isn't it, from Arbeloa, who of course will know all of these young players from coaching the youth teams, the C team, the B team, as Manchester City with Doku on the right-hand side. Now again tries to weave his way through Real Madrid players inside the penalty area, but in the end it just runs away from him and through to Courtois.
It's almost like he's trying to do it on his own this evening, Jeremy Doku. He's not got much support up there. It's a really good piece of play, gets into the 18-yard box, causes the goalkeeper a problem, but no real serious threat.
Late goal for Wimbledon, who lead Blackpool by 3-1. That was deep in added time, as Mark Gay has got to be careful here, which he is, heading the ball away from Mastantuono, and then eventually it's out of play off for a Manchester City throw. So Wimbledon leading Blackpool by 2-1. Norwich City have beaten Sheffield United by 2-1 with that late second goal. And as for Oxford, Blackburn, Mike Maine.
Yeah, huge 3 points for Oxford. The fans roar at the end, says they know it as well. 1-0 winners, back-to-back home wins for the first time this season. Now just a point off safety, looking to the away end. Angry fans in the Blackburn end. Jamie Donnelly's rebound goal in the first half enough against a rather largely lacklustre Blackburn, who are now just a point from the drop zone themselves. Oxford United 1, Blackburn Rovers 0.
Thank you, Mike. Manchester City with the ball over the top, and Rudiger is able to get contact on that to head it away. Crucial touch when you think about it, that interception when Haaland surely, had Rudiger not got the touch, would have put the ball into the back of the net from a couple of yards out.
Well, he took a chance, Rudiger, in that area. The ball was so good across the 6-yard box, he just flung himself at the ball and he made contact, and I think it was off the top of his shin pad, and it just lifted it up and over Haaland. Any other type of contact, it could have ended up in the back of his own net.
So 3-0 to Real Madrid, 5 Live, Radio Manchester, as the ball is headed forward for Real Madrid, and that's a rather clumsy challenge from Ait Nouri, which concedes the foul and actually gets him a yellow card as well. Ait Nouri, he is not on the list of the 3 Manchester City players who, had they been booked, would have missed the second leg. And Marmoush is going to come on for Haaland, and I was just about to say to you, Paul, that Haaland has had a quiet night, really. It's one of those nights, and he's being jeered off by some of the Real Madrid fans as he sorts out his hair and disappears under the roof of the dugout.
Well, we saw his father on the screen earlier before the start of the game. He was obviously here to watch his son play tonight, but it's, as you say, it's been one of those nights for Haaland, and he's the type of player, he needs service. He needs the team around him to be functioning and to give him the opportunity. Give him the opportunity, he'll score the goals. His numbers, his figures suggest that. They haven't performed to that level tonight, Manchester City.
Well, he's been using him sparingly lately as Alexander-Arnold takes this free kick into the edge of the Manchester City box, but it's headed away. Yes, he's missed games recently. He wasn't playing, was he, when you and I were at Leeds United the other week, and the suggestion was that they may be managing some sort of problem, but certainly Haaland's record recently, that's now 4 goals in his last 17 appearances. That's not Haaland.
Well, I think that's only comparative because of the numbers and the bar and the benchmark that he's set himself. I mean, you look at his figures compared to everybody else, they're still up there and way above many others, but actually because of the standards that he's set himself, the amount of goals he's scored, the situations that he's been in, we will question him if he doesn't keep that level up.
And Trent Alexander-Arnold is being substituted, and he has received quite an ovation there from the Real Madrid supporters. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's left the pitch on the far side, but he's being applauded around the pitch. I mean, they generally do that for home supporters, but there was genuine warmth in that, wasn't there? And he's been replaced by the highly experienced Danny Carvajal, highly decorated.
It's taken him time, hasn't it, for Trent to settle here. I think it's been a stop-start to begin into his Real Madrid career, but watching him walk around the pitch over there on that far left-hand touchline coming behind the goal, he's getting very warmly received by all.
Yes, and he's had quite a tough night against Doku. He's needed the help of whoever, as Manchester City played through into the penalty area. Marmoush tangling for it, but it's all the way through for a goal kick. So entering the closing stages here in the Bernabéu, the packed Bernabéu stadium under the closed roof. Real Madrid leading Manchester City by 3-0. Chris Coles will give us the latest on PSG Chelsea.
It remains Paris Saint-Germain 3, Chelsea 2. Chelsea thought they'd found a third equaliser of the evening. João Pedro firing into the corner, but the offside flag at Neto had moved just too soon. VAR had a look, and he was just fractionally offside. Good end to the game in store. Paris Saint-Germain 3, Chelsea 2.
Another late goal in the Championship. Adam Cottier.
Southampton have equalised away to West Brom. Kyle Larin with a looping header that grazed the bar on the way in. Agony for West Brom, and you could feel it amongst the home supporters. West Brom 1, Southampton 1.
And how has it finished at Middlesbrough? Rob Law.
Well, Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 1. The gap between Middlesbrough in second and Millwall in third has been narrowed to a single point. Borough were behind after half-time when Conor Cody steered in from a long throw, his first goal for the club. Kim Hellberg's side then threw everything at it but could not find a way through. Charlton 9 points clear of the bottom 3, while the race for second has just been blown wide open. Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 1.
Yes, and promotion-chasing Millwall, their manager Alex Neil is on the new 72 Plus podcast, which is out today, the new one this week. Birmingham City have won 1-0 against QPR with that early goal from Patrick Roberts, and it remains Real Madrid 3, Manchester City 0, and time running out for City to get a foothold, Paul Robinson.
Yeah, they have to get something here now. They've got to get a goal. They've got to find some way of keeping themselves in the tie. 3-1, yes, it's a resounding defeat, but actually there's a little bit of a chance, because like I said earlier in the first half, if they get one back and then they score the first goal at home, it's completely different. The atmosphere changes immediately. But at the moment, Real Madrid are defending resolutely.
Well, I mentioned the fact that this would be Real Madrid's biggest win against Manchester City, but as the ball is not kept in actually by Mastantuono on the right wing, out of play for a throw into Manchester City. But you know, I'll never forget, I think it was one of the best performances, if not the best performance, by Pep Guardiola's Manchester City in the second leg of the semi-final, the year that they won it in 2023, when they beat Real Madrid 4-0 at the Etihad Stadium. You know, they absolutely hit all the right notes that night.
Well, that's what's on the cards. That's what they're going to have to do. I mean, with this scoreline, they've got no other option unless they can find some way. We've got 3.5 minutes of normal time plus whatever's going to be bolted onto the end, and they haven't looked like scoring in this second half.
No. And of course, that Manchester City team was really motoring, wasn't it? De Bruyne. I remember Bernardo Silva had a brilliant night that night. But they'll need something like that with this scoreline. There has been further developments in Paris. Chris Coles can tell us.
This feels a pivotal goal in this tie. Paris Saint-Germain have a fourth and a 2-goal cushion over Chelsea, and it's a brilliant strike from Kavica Kvaratskhelia from the edge of the penalty area, in on his right foot, a dummy, and then a rocket into the top corner. And with 5 minutes of the first leg to play, Paris Saint-Germain 4, Chelsea 2.
Well, we've made a lot of 6 Premier League clubs being in the round of 16 in the Champions League. The first time that any country has had as many as that in this stage of the competition. How many of them are going to get through to the quarter-finals?
Well, when you look at Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace as well, you look at the dominance of English clubs in Europe to this point, it's very surprising the results that are appearing last night and tonight.
Tottenham are probably heading out.
Probably.
Almost certainly.
You watched the game that I watched last night, didn't you?
Listen, Paul, they might have changed the manager by next week.
Who knows?
So, but anyway, they are almost certainly heading out. We've got City losing by 3 goals. We've got Chelsea losing by 2 goals. And Arsenal snatched a late draw against Bayer Leverkusen this evening. Liverpool are losing, let's not forget. They've got to turn that around at Anfield. And Newcastle have got to go and get a result in the Nou Camp.
Well, all I can say is make sure you tune in and listen to us next week, because it's going to be a fantastic evening when all the English clubs turn it round.
It'll be dramatic. Tuesday and Wednesday night next week. The commentary's on 5 Live. To the Hawthorns, Adam Cottier.
More torment for West Bromwich Albion, who stay in the relegation places. They draw 1-1 with Southampton after a 91st minute header from Kyle Larin got Southampton the leveller, and continues their unbeaten run. West Brom remain without a win in 2026. West Brom 1, Southampton 1.
Full times in League 1. Port Vale, bottom of the table, 0. Bradford City 2, so Bradford strengthen their position in the playoff spots. Wimbledon 4, Blackpool 1, and City have got a free kick that they tap short. It's hit right-footed in towards the near post by Shirky, but Courtois deals that with that very comfortably. It was quite close to him.
Yeah, simple for the big Belgian goalkeeper. It's a decent free kick from Manchester City. It's one that's just rolled under his foot into the path of Shirky, gets it out of his feet, hits it hard on the angle, but it's straight at Courtois. Very simple.
We're in the 90th minute. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City 3-0 down to Real Madrid, his old foes. Camavinga, left-footed pass down the left wing, straight out of play. And very soon we will see the Italian fourth official, Matteo Marchetti, stepping forward with the board to show us just how long Manchester City will have to try and get their first goal of the tie. That penalty save from Donnarumma, from Vinicius, prevented it from getting totally out of hand. But when you're 3-0 down to Real Madrid, and it's 4 minutes of added time that will be played, And the Manchester City supporters, those who we can see from our position here, try and urge their team on. City cross the halfway line, but Master Antonio goes in for the challenge. And then it's played forward by Valverde. Valverde's pass in field is cut out by a stretching Mark Gay, and Manchester City can start to bring it forward from the back again, which they do with Ait Nouri. He gives it to Rodri. Rodri stretches his legs and then passes it forward to his right, where now Shirky is receiving the ball from Husanov, but Shirky's passes. That's an easy one for Howson to deal with, just touching it back to Courtois, who just delivers it away downfield. It's headed forward by Husanov. Rodri had to get there. We've already had 1 minute of the 4 of added time.
This is not a result that Manchester City will want, especially not performance-wise as well. Said before, they're going into such a big phase of their season.
Doku with a dart from him. He looks to put it back from the byline, but the defender was there, and Carvajal was able to make sure that it went behind. It is the corner, though, to Manchester City. So the need is great. They take a short corner. Actually, Shirky has got it back, receives it from Ait Nouri, then into the penalty area to Doku. Might bounce for Ait Nouri, it does. He then passes it to Shirky. He's at the left corner of the penalty area. Quick feet from him. Packed penalty area still after that set piece. Shirky with the ball at his feet, tries to stab it in, takes a deflection. Ait Nouri challenges for it, but it bounces away for Real Madrid into the right back area. But Doku's been able to smuggle it back. Doku now, he finds Reinders 25 yards out, but Rodri behind him. Rodri now through the middle to Marmoush. Marmoush is able to hold the ball up and pass it to Shirky on the left-hand side. Comes back to Ait Nouri, who slips as he actually gives it back to Shirky on that left-hand side. Still Shirky, again with the lime green boots, but the pass into the penalty area, Marmoush is not going to get there, and Real Madrid will either clear this or win a free kick, I think, although the referee doesn't give them one. But however, that is very good play to actually get it away from the danger zone, and then a free kick does go the way of Real Madrid, just in front of their own penalty area. And Ait Nouri it was who conceded it, and it's a free kick to Real Madrid, who are nearly there for an excellent first leg win for them.
Yeah, trying to be too precise once again, Manchester City in the build-up. They're too slow, it's been methodical, it's been pedestrian-like. Everything that they've done has been in front of Real Madrid, and they've found it very, very easy to defend against. The only time that they've looked a real threat is when Doku's got down the sides, got down the channels and in behind, which hasn't been often enough.
Real Madrid 3, Manchester City 0, in the 5th season in a row that these clubs have met in the Champions League knockout stage. And Real Madrid could be in line to knock Manchester City out for 3 seasons running. Real Madrid with Fran Garcia deep in added time. Indeed, we've got, I make it 30 seconds plus however much else Maurizio Mariani decides to add on. And it's been a miserable couple of nights, really, in the Champions League in Madrid for Tottenham over at the Metropolitano last night, and for Manchester City, unless they could find a late goal. O'Reilly running from the centre circle. O'Reilly finding Marmoush. Howson in with an excellent tackle on Marmoush to take the ball, and that was crucial, and that was the last play of the match. What a win for Real Madrid. 3-0 in the first leg, and the Bernabéu rises to its feet. I'm not sure whether confidence was terribly high coming into this match, and it's not often you say that about Real Madrid and their supporters and this club, but Real Madrid in the Champions League, it's a match made in heaven, and what a win this is. And the man of the night, the star of the night, the player of the first half with his hat-trick, the captain on the night, Federico Valverde. A hat-trick from him. Could have been more had Donnarumma not saved the penalty from Vinicius in the second half. Manchester City have been well beaten here tonight, and really, are they going to be able to turn this round? 3-0 down at the Etihad next week.
They have such an affiliation with this competition, Real Madrid. They're always special nights here, and we talked before the game about Manchester City and where they were at, and they had a real chance to come here tonight and get a result. They were outplayed. Real Madrid were clinical, decisive, and they hurt Manchester City in the first half, and they had no response to that.
Hopes were so high, but Manchester City have been well beaten by the record 15 times winners in this latest edition of Real Madrid Manchester City. Real Madrid have won it 3-0.
And we'll be back inside the Bernabéu for full reaction between now and 10:30 with John Murray and Paul Robinson. So a 3-goal deficit for Manchester City, and it looks like it's going to be the same for Chelsea. Chris Coles.
A dismal night for the English clubs in the Champions League, because Paris Saint-Germain have scored a fifth in the 94th minute. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, who didn't start the game, has scored 2 goals to surely take the game away from Chelsea. Another blistering counter-attack down the right. Kvaratskhelia arrives late, puts it beyond Jorgensen, and Chelsea, who were in the game at 2-2, have shot themselves in the foot to concede 3 late goals, and that is the full-time whistle. It is finished in Paris. Paris Saint-Germain 5, Chelsea 2, and Chelsea will be wondering quite how that got away from them.
We'll also be reacting after 10 o'clock to the big stories in the Championship. Coventry City are 8 points clear at the top. It is finished in their game against Preston. Julia Bold.
It's finished Coventry 3, Preston 0. No stopping the league leaders. That first goal came when Sakamoto's shot sliced through the Preston defence and took a deflection off Ben Whiteman. Brandon Thomas Asante doubled the lead a short time later. Bit of a scramble in the box. Alex Sims for an overhead kick. Iverson palmed it away. Thomas Asante poked in the rebound. After the break, a foul on Ephron Mason-Clark in the box saw Matt Grimes score a penalty. 6 wins in a row now for Coventry. 77 goals so far this season, more than anyone else across all 4 divisions. More misery for Preston though, without a win in 6 league games. It's finished Coventry 3, Preston 0.
And as we told you earlier, it finished Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 1, so a doubly good night for the leaders Coventry. Lots of reaction on the way. It's finished in Norway. The Bodo Glimt story rolls on. Maz Faruqi.
It really does, Steve. If there were any nerves in the first half on a historical night for the Norwegians, it was a mature, measured second half from Bodo. They added to their 2 first half goals against Sporting with a close range finish from Kasper Hjørg. Goals 1 and 2 were scored by Sondre Blomstedt Fate with a penalty, and then Ole Blomberg in first half stoppage time. This win puts them more than within touching distance of a quarter-final spot in the Champions League. Just when will this incredible European fairy tale end for Bodo? Not at the moment, it seems. They've beaten Sporting in the first leg of the last 16 tie by 3 goals to 0.
Thank you very much, Maz. So we'll be back inside the Parc des Princes and inside the Bernabéu between 10 and 10:30, all before Tony Livesey takes over on 5 Live. First, let's get the news with Stuart Clarkson.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The government's accepted its due diligence fell short before the appointment of Lord Mandelson as the UK ambassador to the US. Documents released by ministers show Sir Keir Starmer was warned that the peer's links to Jeffrey Epstein posed a general reputational risk. Papers also revealed that Lord Mandelson was given a payout of £75,000 when he left the civil service. Ministers say money was awarded after legal advice, and the former ambassador had initially demanded more. Here's the Conservative Party leader, Kemi Badenoch.
I think that this is yet another indictment of Keir Starmer's judgment. He wants to make this all about Peter Mandelson asking for money. The fact is, he wouldn't have been paying out that severance package if he hadn't appointed him in the first place. And the vetting that we have now seen, the documents that we have now seen, have shown that the Prime Minister should never have made this decision.
President Trump says the US bombing campaign against Iran is not yet finished. He's told reporters Iran's lost its Navy, Air Force, air defences and leadership. Then at a rally in Kentucky tonight, he said the US had to finish the job. The United Nations Security Council's passed a resolution condemning attacks by Iran on Arab Gulf states and Jordan and Tehran's efforts to block the Strait of Hormuz. China and Russia abstained from the vote. Global oil prices have remained high despite the biggest ever market intervention by the International Energy Agency to counter the effects of the US-Israeli war on Iran. Member states have agreed to release 400 million barrels from their emergency reserves. Our business correspondent is Michelle Fleury.
The reason you have not seen a big movement in the oil price, sort of in the downward direction, is in part because people are looking at the situation and they're going, well, that might help in the short term. And while it sounds like a huge number, roughly speaking, it would be maybe about 20 days or so of sort of replacement, maybe a bit more. And they think if this conflict goes on beyond that, well, then what next?
And the Met Office has issued warnings of winds gusting up to 70 miles an hour in parts of the UK over the next 24 hours. It says travel disruption is possible, particularly affecting North Wales, Northern England, southern and eastern Scotland and the whole of Northern Ireland.